Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today viewer will see what if Naruto loved by the fire Daimyo's wife. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. Naruto woke up in the shithole he used to call his apartment. Well, today's the day. The day I changed the past, or future, or something. Naruto was 13 again. However, he was 5 feet 7 and in Kyuubi's opinion, well you'll find out later. He was wearing a mesh shirt with a black skin-tight shirt with a black trench coat with the kanji for Fox of Death on the back. He was wearing, you guessed it, black pants with extra pockets for sealing scrolls and equipment. He had a resistance seal on his torso, that was set to 32 at the time, that was shaped like a fox with a tail running down to his left hand. He had a ring on his right hand that looked like it was made out of bone. He was also wearing arm guard-like things which, if you looked closely, you could see a dark glow from. He meditated for a moment before red chakra started to pour from his stomach. Within 1 minute a woman was standing there. She was 5 feet 5 with red hair that reached down to her lower back. The most noticeable feature was that she was completely nude. Natsumi-chan. Wait here, I'll get you some clothes. 5 minutes later Naruto returned with a bundle of clothes. I know it's not much but we can go shopping later. It's fine Naruto-kun. With that she changed. Well, it's time for me to go. I love you. I love you too, Naruto-kun. With that Naruto heads off for the academy for the team assignment. When he gets there he decides to sit next to Shino. What are you doing here Naruto? You have to graduate to come here. Stated Shikamaru. What's on my forehead? Troublesome. 30 minutes later a rumbling was heard and not a second later Sakura and Ino burst into the room. I won. No, I won forehead. No, I'm sitting next to Sasuke-kun. No, I am. Naruto was beyond annoyed at this point. Will you two shut the fuck up? There are 2 seats next to him, both of you take one. At this point everyone went silent that Naruto just did that, as well as surprised he was even there. What are you doing here? You failed. What's on my forehead? And what's with the new clothes? You'll never be cooler than Sasuke-kun. I'm not trying to look or be cooler than him. This is just, well it's kind of like a uniform. Uniform? Well it's tough to explain. Plus I just don't want to. At this point Iruka walks in. Congrats everyone for graduating. Now for the team assignments. After teams 1 through 6 are read off. Team 7 will be Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura. Sakura starts cheering, and Uzumaki Naruto. At this point both Sakura and Naruto seem upset. Naruto manages to hide it more though, and your sensei will be Hitaki Kakashi. Team 8 will be Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, and Aburame Shino. Your sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year. Team 10 will be Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Akamichi Choji. Your sensei will be Sarutobi Asuma. The door opens to reveal a lazy-looking man with a beard and a cigarette in his mouth. Team 10 come with me. 5 minutes later a woman with red eyes and a dress that hugs her body pretty well comes in. Team 8 you're with me. 3 hours later the door opens and a guy with silver gravity-defying hair with a mask covering his lower face and a Hite 8 covering his left eye. My first opinion of you all, I don't like you. Meet me on the roof. Yane. With that he left in a swirl of leaves and smoke. Naruto follows in a similar way. On the roof Kakashi gets ready when he sees a puff of smoke and fire appear and disappear and Naruto left where it happened. To say Kakashi was shocked was an understatement. Shortly after the rest of the team made it up and sat down. Well, I must say I'm impressed. That's a Chunin level jutsu. How does that dobi know a jutsu like that? I should have that power. Sasuke thought. So, tell me your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams. Kakashi said. Could you go first Kakashi-sensei? Sakura said. Alright, my name is Kakashi Hitaki. My likes and dislikes, I don't feel like telling you that. My hobbies, well I have lots of hobbies, and dreams for the future, I don't want to tell you that. All he told us was his name. Both Sakura and Sasuke thought. More like you like reading porn in public, you hate those who dislike your porn. Your hobby is to read porn, and your dream is to meet Jiraiya and get his autograph. Naruto said holding in his laughter at Kakashi's face. Alright then you can go first, smart mouth. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, my likes are training, creating new jutsu, killing those who make me mad, and a certain fox. My dislikes are fangirls, rapists, and arrogant bastards with 10-foot poles shoved up their ass. My hobbies are training and spending time with my friends. My dream is to make my master proud and maybe even take his place one day. Master? The other three thought. Next you Pinky. Pinky? I've heard better. My name is Sakura Haruno, my likes, stares at Sasuke. My dislikes, Ino Pig and Naruto Baka. What I do? My hobbies, stares at Sasuke. My dreams, stares at Sasuke with a blush. You next duck ass. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. My likes are nothing, I hate everything, and my dream is more of an ambition because I will make it happen. I will kill a certain someone and restore my clan. He's so cool, Sakura thought. Great, an emo avenger, a fangirl, at least the blonde seems somewhat normal. Great, meet me at Training Ground 7 at 5 AM tomorrow for your survival test, and don't eat breakfast, you'll throw up. Ya nay. See ya. With that Naruto left for Training Ground 9. Time to show up Neji. With that he started laughing. That is until Shinigami interrupted. Home, Naruto, I got a gift for you. What kind of gift? One to let you show up that sensei of yours, he. Alright, see you in a minute. With that Naruto headed home to tell Natsumi how he had to meet Shinigami. He opened the door to see her sitting on the couch reading a book, Natsumi-chan. Naruto-kun, I missed you, he. I missed you too, Natsumi-chan. I have to meet Shinigami-sama. Ah, what does he want? He said he has something for me to show up my sensei. With that they started laughing at what it could be. Alright, but don't take too long. I got a gift for you for graduating. I won't. With that he took a kunai from his pouch and stabbed it through his throat. Naruto woke up to a small room with a candle that burned blue and an odd symbol on the floor. He walks out and sees Shinigami sitting on a throne. So, what is this gift you're going to give me exactly? Naruto asked with a bored tone to his voice. I'm going to teach you how a bloodline truly works so that you can recreate them, Shinigami said, his voice booming in the large room. And the DNA of the Sharingan. Interesting, I can't wait to see Sasuke's face when he sees that I got the Sharingan. Naruto said as he started to laugh. Oh, this will be fun. He sat there as his master explained it all, then came the end. Okay, let's see if I can do this. He does the hand signs in which he was showed and focused, and a second later was covered in a bright red light. After it was done he opened his eyes and you could see the blood red color of the Sharingan along with 3 tomo in each eye. Wow, it worked better than I thought it would. Good job. Thanks Shinigami-sama. Naruto said, the tomo in his eyes spinning madly. Well, it's about time you went back. Natsumi has a gift for you too, doesn't she? Shinigami said while laughing perversely. I swear you're worse than Jiraiya sometimes. Well, goodbye. With that Naruto went back to the room he woke up in and stood in the seal. He thought of being in his living room and moments later he felt a rush come to him. Seconds later he appeared on his couch. Wow, 8:30. I thought I was gone longer. He walked into his room in which he found Natsumi waiting on the bed. There you are, Naruto-kun, she said seductively. The next day Naruto made breakfast for him and Natsumi, ate and left kissing her on the way out. Let's see, goals for today. Kick Kakashi's ass, show up Sasuke, a little training, and whatever else comes to mind. When he arrived Sakura noticed him. You're late, Naruto Baka, Sakura screeched. Ow, sorry, I got lost on the road of life. Naruto said, thinking it would be funny to use the same excuse Kakashi was about to use. He sat next to a tree and waited. 5 minutes later and there was a poof of smoke. When it cleared up you could see Kakashi standing there reading his porn. Yo, sorry I'm late, I got lost on the road of life. Naruto already used that one, Sasuke stated calmly. What? Kakashi screamed, upset that him and Naruto used the same excuse. Oh well, let's start your test. Test? What test? Sakura asked. Oh, the test you took in the academy was to see who was potential genin. The real test is up to the sensei. Naruto stated calmly. Wow, I was right, you are a know-it-all. Which is odd because your file said you were a complete idiot. With that Naruto gave Kakashi the bird. Fuck you. Kakashi pulled out 2 bells and tied them to his belt. You have till noon to get these bells from me. Those who don't get a bell will be tied to a pole and have your lunch eaten in front of you, then you will be sent back to the academy. But there are only 2 bells and 3 of you. That means one of you will fail. Begin. With that everyone but Naruto jumped into the trees. You know, compared to the others you're a little weird. Naruto activated his Sharingan and charged at Kakashi. The Sharingan. But how? Thought both Kakashi and Sasuke. Naruto got into a strange stance in which he has never seen before. He closes his eyes again, and when they open, the tomo have been replaced with two slits running diagonally through each other. Another dujutsu? You're an interesting kid. Naruto launched at Kakashi. With this dujutsu, in which he came up with after leaving home, he could see Kakashi's chakra flowing from him and could steal it. Kakashi didn't even see the first punch be thrown. All he knew was that he was hit by a punch almost as powerful as Tsunade's. Damn, kid packs a punch. A moment later he started feeling his chakra leave his body. What, is he stealing my chakra? But how? Moments later a barrage of punches met his face and chest. Damn, if this keeps up. As he thought that a fireball the size of the Hokage Tower was hurtling towards him. All he could say before it hit was, "Oh fuck me." With that he was consumed by the fires. I think I overdid it there. Hold on. Naruto focused and held his hand out. Seconds later a pitch-black sword with a golden guard appeared in his hands. He thrust the sword into Kakashi's body and took his soul from the burning, started a couple of hand signs, and after he finished shouted, "Shinigami Arts. Body Recreation." His chakra poured from his body, slowly taking the form of a body with no features. He focused and his guards started to glow, then dark purple blades appeared hovering above the guards. They looked like pure energy, but that was the only way to describe them. He hovered one of his hands over his sword and you could see a light, appear out of it. He pushed it into the blank body and moments later the body took the form of Kakashi. "Welcome back," Naruto yelled. "You killed me, you little fuck." "Wait, you killed me? How come I'm right here?" "I brought you back," Naruto said casually. "You brought me back? How the hell?" "You know what I don't want to know." "Oh, and I got the bells. I guess that means you and someone else is passing then." Naruto threw the bells into the trees. One landed in front of Sasuke and the other, Sakura. "Well, I guess we all pass. The test was after all about teamwork." "You knew?" "Yay, I just wanted to fight you." "It was disappointing." "Oh well." With that Naruto shunshined to Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death, leaving Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 to think. Just what is this kid? Time for some training. Maybe I will see Anko too. He walked through ignoring everything that he came across until he found Anko sitting in a tree. "Hello, Anko-chan," Naruto said. Who the hell are you and what are you doing in my forest?" She took up a guard and pulled out a kunai. "Well, I was hoping to train, but seeing as I found you, how about I take you out for dango?" The moment he said that she was right next to him. "I don't know who you are, but for dango, I don't give a fuck." Name's Naruto Uzumaki. "Wait, Naruto? As in the Naruto that pulled all those pranks? The one and only. Man, your pranks are awesome. Especially the one where you turned the Hyuga's laundry pink. Another fan of my work, I see. Well, let's head off for some dango, shall we?" "You're alright, kid, you're alright. What of the target?" As Kakashi said that, Naruto burst through the trees and tackled the cat. "Die!" he screamed. He still held a grudge against the demon cat from his past life and he planned to end it. He summoned a fox and had it try to eat the cat, but Kakashi stepped in. "Naruto, you know we can't kill it," Kakashi said sternly. "Who are you kidding? You want to kill it too," Naruto said in return. "All the same, we are being paid to return the cat safely." "Fine, let's return the demon cat, but next time it escapes, it's mine." He said that last part with an evil smile, thinking of ways to kill it. Later at the Hokage Tower. "Great job, Team 7. For your next mission you are to pick weeds at a farmer's garden?" "Weed? I could use some with the Tora missions," Naruto interjected. "As I was saying, pick weeds. Watch a woman's kids for an hour, no Tora sweetie come back. Or catch Tora." "Hokage-sama, I request a C-ranked mission," Naruto asked. Sarutobi quirked his eyebrow at this. "Really? Kakashi, do you think they're ready?" the aged Hokage asked. "I believe they are, with the skill they show." Kakashi said, sure that his team was ready. "Very well then. You are to guard a bridge builder back to wave and protect him until the bridge is finished, bring him in." With that a man that looked to be in his mid-50s staggered in holding a sake bottle. "What's this? I paid for ninja, not children. And I doubt that blonde one is good enough to beat me in a fight." The moment he said that, Naruto was next to him holding a kunai to his neck. "What was that?" Naruto asked. Nothing." Tazuna asked, scared that one wrong move and the kid would kill him. Good. Naruto jumped back to the rest of the team and waited. Naruto, don't scare the client. Kakashi said. Whatever. Naruto said. Go home and prepare for a C-ranked mission and meet me at the gate. Kakashi said. Hi. The three said and left. Naruto was walking around when he saw a shop that actually caught his eye. Doesn't Tenten's family own that place? He walked in to find Tenten standing at the counter. Welcome to Henshin's Weapons, what can I do for you? She asked politely. May I speak to your father? Naruto asked. Okay, Dad, someone wants to talk to you. Tenten yelled. Alright, no need to yell. Hello, what can I do for you? I'm Hishirama Henshin. I was wondering if I could buy the three-pronged kunai you have in the back. Naruto asked. How do you know about those? Hishirama asked while inching towards a warhammer on the wall. That is a private matter that I will only discuss with you. Naruto stated. Fine, Tenten, could you go for a moment? Hi. With that the weapons mistress left. Okay. How do you know about the kunai? Naruto smirked and replied. Simple, they belong to my dad. Naruto stated. You lie, his son died after he was born. Hishirama yelled outraged that someone claimed to be his old friend's son. Fine, I'll prove it to you. Naruto pulled out a scroll and out came a sword with a red dragon design and black and silver on the handle. Is that the Namikaze clan sword? Hishirama asked. Yes, and as you know only a Namikaze can draw it. He pulled and the blade eased out. The blade was black on one side and white on the other, representing balance. Why, you are his son. Hishirama jumped over the counter and pulled Naruto into a bear hug. I thought you were dead. I thought that his legacy was gone. I guess I was wrong. He said with a smile on his face. Hee hee, yay you were. Naruto said with a smile on his face as well. He remembered the happiness that Hishirama was feeling. He felt it the day he got reunited with Natsumi. Flashback. Naruto was waking up for his morning workout. He was 1 month into his training with Shinigami when he was called into the throne room. What is it, Shinigami-sama? Naruto asked. Today I'm going to fulfill my promise and give Natsumi back to you. Naruto started jumping for joy, happy that he was finally going to be with her again. Okay. Hold on, this will take some work to pull off. Shinigami started to focus and soon a light started to consume Naruto. Naruto felt a pain in which was equal to that of the chakra burns he got when he went 5 tails while fighting Orochimaru. After a while the pain stopped and laying in front of him was Natsumi. What hit me? She asked as she started to wake up. Natsumi-chan, are you okay? Naruto asked, worried that she might have been hurt some. But to his pleasure she was alright. Naruto-kun, is that you? She asked. The last thing I remember was being removed from you. Then everything went blank. I made it out and got back to see Konoha destroyed. I found Orochimaru and Sasuke at the Hokage Tower and was able to kill them. Then where are we? And how am I here with you? She asked, confusion written on her face. That would be me, Shinigami said. Shinigami-sama. He took me in as an apprentice and will send me back to the day I was put onto Team 7. I owe him a lot too. Well, I'll give you two some alone time. Be safe. Arrow Shinigami. Naruto muttered. They left the room to enjoy being with each other again. Flashback end. Man, that was a great day. Naruto thought, still remembering that day. Okay. I got the kunai. What do you want to do with them for now? Hishirama asked. I'll just seal them in a sealing scroll. Naruto said. He took out a scroll and placed it on the ground. Then he put the box of kunai onto the scroll and with a poof they were gone. Well, that covers all that I really need. Tell Tenten I said hi. And with that Naruto was gone. He, just like his father. Maybe him and Tenten will end up together. He pondered on that thought before he decided to let things run their course. Tenten, you can come down now. He yelled. Okay, food, check, water, check, weapons, check, clothes, check. Time to head out. Naruto started to head to the gate when he heard a loud noise behind him. Oh no, he thought. The moment that thought went through his head, two men in green spandex got closer to him. He brought his arms out at the last second and the two ran right into his fists. Dazed, the older one decided to ask what happened. Ouch, what happened to our youthful jog? He asked. You ran into my fists, that's what. Naruto said while holding in his laughter. Who are you, my youthful friend? The other one asked. Name's Naruto. You two are both Guy and Lee, right? Naruto said, already knowing the answer. Yes, that is correct. They both yelled in unison. Well, when I get back from my mission I would like to spar with both of you later, but right now I got to go. See you. And with that, Naruto disappeared. Yosh, his flames of youth burned brightly. Yelled Guy. I swear those two are the two most annoying people I have ever met. When Naruto made it to the gate he saw everyone else just arriving as well. Everyone set? Kakashi asked. Yes, the three said in unison. Wait Naruto. Where's your bag? Sakura asked. I don't have one. Everything I'm taking are in sealing scrolls. He responded. Sealing scrolls? She asked. Yes, sealing scrolls. Scrolls with special seals written on them to be used for containment. Naruto said. Wow, how did you get some? She asked. Made them, he said. I'm pretty good with seals. Well, could we head off? I would like to go home now. Said Tazuna. Hi, Tazuna-san, let's get moving. And with that they were off. It was a warm day. Okay, so it was a pretty hot day. Team 7 and Tazuna were walking through the woods, talking. Someone would ask him what it was like being in charge of building a bridge. Naruto was just chatting with Shinigami. Man, how long until the demon brothers show up again? Not too long. Just be patient. Fine, I just haven't had a good fight since mine and Kakashi's last spar. As he said that, two figures rose out of the puddle they were hiding in and wrapped Kakashi in their chain. One down, 4 to go. The brothers said. Finally, some action. Naruto said. He activated his guards and the blades from before, one, appeared. Let's play. Naruto said, ready for a fight. This kid thinks that he can take us? They started laughing thinking he didn't stand a chance. He rushed them and within a blink of an eye the chain that connected the two was cut into 172 pieces. But, how? The two said. Now, can't let you use that now, can I? He sent a pooch to both of their chests and sent them flying. They stood up and looked pissed. They charged at him and he just smirked. I had to lower my resistance seal to 25. Good job you two. With that the younger fell down dead, his head in Naruto's hand. Naruto threw it into some bushes and rushed the remaining brother. 5 seconds later you could see the brother split in half and fell down dead. A perfect bisection. He cut off his head and got the other one's head and sealed them in a scroll. I could use the money from the bounty on these two. You can come out now, sensei. He yelled. Kakashi walked out of the trees, surprised that Naruto has dispatched of them in such a manner. And you too, Akiko, too. With that a woman who looked to be around the age of 15 came out from her hiding spot and knelt before Naruto. She had red flowing hair that reached to the middle of her back. Her eyes were blue and she was as tall as Natsumi. She had a figure that would make any man drop dead from just looking at her. While she was not as beautiful as Natsumi, she wasn't a demon who could change herself to look even better. Naruto-sama, she said. Now, you don't have to bow to me, you know that. Naruto said with a wave of his hand. So, Akiko-chan, you made sure to keep training and not slack off, right? He asked. Of course, Naruto-sama. You can cut the sama crap. Aren't we friends? Naruto asked. Yay, you're right Naruto-kun. Akiko said. Naruto, who is she? Sakura asked. This is Akiko, my apprentice. 3. He said. You have an apprentice? Sakura asked, shocked about what she heard. Kakashi and Sasuke were equally shocked. Well, it's nice to meet you Akiko-san. Kakashi said. My name is Kakashi Hitaki. Hello Kakashi-san. She said, trying to be polite. Be careful, he's one of the village's biggest perverts. Naruto warned. At this Kakashi's eyes started to twitch. You're trying to ruin what reputation I have, aren't you? Kakashi asked. Yay, so? Naruto asked. You know, sometimes I hate you. Kakashi said, his eye twitched worse than before. Thanks Kakashi. Naruto said as if it was a compliment. Let's just get moving. Kakashi said, feeling a headache coming on. 2 hours later and they could be seen coming towards a boat ready to pick them up. Move quickly and quietly, the boatman said. After a 10-minute ride they were back on land. Good luck, Tazuna-san, the boatman said as he left. The group were walking when Naruto felt Zabuza watching them. Okay, let's do this. He threw a kunai into the bushes, pulled a rabbit from out of the bushes and got ready. Get down, Kakashi yelled. Everyone but Naruto dropped to the ground. Just as the sword was about to hit him he jumped over it. Pretty good, Gaki. But not good enough, Zabuza said. Akiko, I'll leave this up to you. Show them what you've got. Naruto said. Hi, Naruto-kun, she replied. Ha ha ha, this has got to be a joke. You're having me fight her. Zabuza fell down holding his sides laughing. When he was done he got up and pulled his sword free from the tree. Gaki, do you even know who I am? He asked. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the mist. Naruto said. Well, you know my name and title, big deal. Zabuza readied his sword. Go Akiko. She nodded her head and focused. A moment later her guards hummed for a moment before blades of energy similar to Naruto's appeared above her guards. She has a pair of those too? Kakashi asked. Naruto just nodded. Hold on Akiko, don't use those, use your sword. We don't want you cutting through his now do we? Naruto said. Hi. She deactivated her guards and focused. A moment later, a sword similar to the one Naruto used on Kakashi appeared in her hands. Ready? She asked. Always. They rushed at each other but only Kakashi and Naruto could see the fighting. To the untrained eye you would just see sparks as metal met metal. She's good, Kakashi said. What did you expect? She is my student. Naruto stated proudly. They watched on for 5 minutes before Naruto decided to end the fight. He jumped in between them and sent a kick to Zabuza causing him to hit a tree, then grabbed Akiko and held her in his arms. Good job Akiko-chan, Naruto said with a smile on his face. Thank you Naruto-kun. And with that she passed out. Well, she wore herself out, didn't she? Naruto said as he laid her down on the ground. He walked over to Zabuza with a kunai in hand when two senbon made their way into his neck. Naruto knew what was happening but decided to play along. Thank you for your help. I've been following him for 3 days. No problem Hunter-san, Naruto said. The Hunter Nin took Zabuza's unconscious body and disappeared. Well, let's get going. Naruto said as he picked up Akiko and carried her with the others in the direction to Tazuna's house. 5 minutes later they made it to his house. Tsunami, I'm home, Tazuna yelled. Dad, I'm glad you made it back. She said, it's all thanks to these ninja. He said motioning to them. Oh, is she okay? Tsunami asked when she saw Akiko. Yay, she's just tired. Naruto said. Well, follow me, I'll take her to where she can sleep. Naruto followed and when they made it he laid her down. What's your name? She asked. Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said. As in the ramen? She asked confused. No, as in Maelstrom. He said. Oh, that's better than a type of ramen. She said. Well, I'll be down when she wakes up, okay? Naruto said. Alright, just don't do anything you'll regret later. She said as she leaked a small amount of killer intent. Don't worry, she's my student, I wouldn't harm her in any way. Naruto said while emphasizing any. Got it, she said while going downstairs. Man, today has been pretty long. What hit me? Akiko asked as she woke up. That would be a headache. Naruto said walking in the room. I brought you dinner. Thanks, so how long was I out? She asked. 4 hours, Naruto stated. That's not so bad. Yay, well eat up and when you're ready come downstairs. I got something for you. With that he left. I wonder what he's talking about. Naruto was waiting outside. That seal was harder to make than I thought. He had one of the 3-pronged kunai in his hand. 5 minutes later, Akiko came outside. So, what is it you were talking about? This. He showed her the kunai. Wait, isn't that the same kunai the 4th used? She asked. Yay. Before I left for the mission I made sure to pick these up. I tell you, the seal used for the Haraishin was hard to remake. Well, here you go. What's this for? She asked. Well, if you ever need me throw the kunai down and I will be there. I don't want you getting hurt if I can help it. He said with a smile. Akiko was shocked. He cares that much for me? Thanks Naruto-kun. It's no problem. He said. Well, time for some training. Want to join me? Naruto asked. Sure. She said. They left to a clearing Naruto found earlier. When they got there they got into their respective stances. Ready? Akiko nods her head. Alright, fight. They rush at each other in a blur of movements. Then Akiko is sent flying and hits a tree. She falls to her knees and spits out a bit of blood. Damn, she rushed back at him and brought her fist up. They engaged into a fierce taijutsu fight. Naruto took a hard right to the ribs and felt some break. Shit, you hit as hard as Tsunade. Thanks, I worked on learning how she hit as hard as she did. At this Naruto paled. The fight continued for another 30 minutes before Naruto decided to end the fight. He caught her fist as it was about to hit him in the face and held 2 fingers in front of her face. "I win. But damn, you got a hard punch," he said as he started nursing his broken ribs. He applied some of his Kyuubi chakra into the wounded area and soon felt the injuries fade away. "Ah, that's better," he said relieved. "Let's go home." "Hi," and with that they went home. The next day Naruto was at the bridge protecting Tazuna for his shift. He has his clones running around doing work for him and he sits there supervising. "Alright, let's take a break," Tazuna said. Naruto dispelled all the clones and waited for the break to be over. He was enjoying helping them. After 10 minutes they went back to work. Not much to do except work. The sooner the bridge gets finished, the sooner Gato will lose control over us, Tazuna said. After 2 hours it was time to go home. But Naruto decided to go for a walk through the town. "God, I'm going to gut Gato and not even let him die. I'll force him to feel every bit of it," Naruto thought enraged. He felt a tug at his pants and looked down to see a little girl around the age of 6. He pushed his hand into his storage center. Shinigami helped him make and pulled out 1,000 ryo, and some candy and handed the stuff to the girl. She thanked him and he smiled at her. He would help this place again. But first, he decided to play with the kids that surrounded him. Okay, hold on. Who wants to see something cool?" he asked while remembering what it was like to be in their shoes. That is if they had shoes, which they unfortunately did not. The kids nodded and he started a few hand seals, then he pointed his hands towards the sky and sent up a burst of chakra, but with how he focused it, it looked like fireworks. The kids started laughing and cheering, making the blonde feel good knowing he was helping them. He made a couple of shadow clones and had them pick up the kids and they gave them piggyback rides around town. When it got dark he knew he had to leave, so to do them a favor he started some hand seals, and when he finished he put his hands down on the ground and said, "Mokuton." Wooden encampment. 2 roots shot out of the ground taking the form of a house. It was a simple 2-story house, but it would do. "Here you go, you guys can sleep here." The kids were breathless. Naruto just gave them a home. "Oh, and you're going to need beds." He pulled in a scroll and there was a poof of smoke. When it cleared, there were 20 sleeping bags, 1 for each of them. He went in and after 5 minutes you could see lights come on from inside. "Well, what are waiting for? Take a look around your new home." The kids rushed in and when they saw the inside of it, they were happier than they thought possible. Naruto created a clone and told it to watch over them until the mission was over. He went home to see Team 8 there. "What are you guys doing here?" he asked. "Hokage-sama sent us as backup," Kurenai said. "Oh, well okay," Naruto said. "Ah Naruto, you're just in time for dinner," Kakashi said when he realized he was back. Everyone was sitting at the table. Naruto wasn't eating because he didn't want to, while Inari, Tsunami's son, didn't eat because he was mad. Finally he had enough and blew. "Why do you all try? You're all just going to die," he screamed. "Inari," yelled Tsunami, surprised at her son. "Kid, you are wrong there. Although you'll find out why soon enough," Naruto said with a laugh. "You just sit here. You all had a great life, none of you know what it's like to suffer." Inari struck a nerve there. The temperature literally dropped 30 degrees. "Don't know what it's like to suffer. Don't know what it's like to suffer. No, you don't know what it's like to suffer, kid, but I do. Sasuke knows what it's like to suffer. His clan was killed by his older brother and then he was forced to relive it over and over again. And me, kid, you do not want to know what I have been through. Just take a look at just some of the things that have happened to me." He pulled away part of his shirt and focused. A moment later a giant scar appeared on his chest and on the opposite side of his back. "You see this? This is the first scar I ever got. If I was a normal person then my body would have more scars than there are stars in the sky. This is the worst though. I had lightning shoved right through my chest," he said. Everyone was baffled. What happened to him? Everyone there except Kakashi thought, already knowing, "I'm going to go train some." And with that he left. Suddenly everyone could smell piss. The killer intent that Naruto was radiating made Akamaru piss, and he just so happened to be in Kiba's jacket. "Damn it, now I smell like piss." Naruto was back at the clearing he found and started destroying it. "Damn brat, Fuuten." Rasen's Hurricane. A Rasengan formed in his hand and took the form of a giant wind shuriken. He threw it and expanded the clearing. And promptly passed out as well. The next day a woman was walking through the woods with a basket full of herbs in it. She saw the destruction and was shocked. What happened here? She thought. Just then she saw Naruto laying on the forest floor asleep. He's one of the leaf nin that hurt Zabuza-sama. She walked up and was about to choke him when she decided against it and shook him awake. Great, did Shinigami-sama kill me again? Seriously, I'm seeing angels, Naruto said in a daze. The woman blushed afterwards. What did he mean when he said again? She thought, you'll get a cold if you sleep out here. No, I won't. Only been sick once, and that was when I was poisoned with 10 different types of poison. He said, wow, 10 different types? Well, my name's Haku, what's yours? She asked. Naruto Uzumaki, the spirit king of Konoha. Naruto said, nice to meet you. Haku said, hey, Haku, how's no brows doing? He asked. Haku's blood ran cold. Damn, he recognized me. She went to pull some senbon out of her sleeve when she remembered that she didn't bring any. Don't worry, I want to offer you and Zabuza a home in Konoha. He said, yay right, like you could get us passed to join. She said, disbelieving him. Oh, but I can. The Hokage and I are close, plus he owes me. And if that doesn't work, there's always blackmail. He promptly pulls out a picture and shows it to Haku. She bursts out laughing. Ha ha ha, that's hilarious. When the laughter died down, she remembered what was going on. Wait, how do I know I can trust you? She asked. As a sign that I will not betray you, take my ring. If I betray you, then destroy it, but if I don't, then you give it back. He said while handing it to her. What's so special about this ring? She asked. My master gave it to me when I finished my training. It's one of my most treasured items. Naruto said. Fine, I will let Zabuza-sama know about this proposition. She said, still not trusting him. Well, would you like some help, Haku-chan? He asked and caused Haku to blush. No, I'm good, she said, then left in a mirror of ice. To prepare for Zabuza, Kurenai and I will train you, said Kakashi. Let me guess. Tree climbing? Naruto said with a bored tone. Well, yes, Kakashi said, annoyed. He really annoys me sometimes. Smart-mouth blonde, Kakashi thought. Well then, I'm out of here, Naruto said while walking away. Same, said Akiko. Wait, where do you think you're going? Kurenai asked. To do some real training, Naruto yelled from the distance. Just then, Kakashi appeared in front of him. I don't think so, I have to teach you this too. He said. You can't teach what someone already knows, Naruto said as he pressed forward. So you're saying you can do the exercise? Kakashi said, not believing that Naruto could do it. Yep. With that, Naruto walked up the nearest tree and stood upside down on the highest branch. Wait, how about I teach you how to use the Sharingan to its fullest? Kakashi offered. No thanks, don't have the Sharingan anymore, Naruto said. How do you just lose it? Kakashi asked. I gave it up for a stronger version of my Rishigan. One, Naruto said. Leech Eye? Appropriate. So, you gave up the Sharingan for an advanced version of this Dujutsu of yours? Kakashi asked. Yes, those who have the Rishigan also develop other Dujutsus and eventually can trade them out for an advanced version. What is this advanced Dujutsu called? Kakashi asked. Naruto smirked. The Kamigan. 2, Naruto said. He then activated the Kamingan to show red irises and 2 black slitted pupils. The white of the eyes were replaced by black. Veins bulged near the eyes similar to the Byakugan, and a gray ring appeared around the outside edges of the irises. With this Dujutsu, I have access to the abilities of the Sharingan, Byakugan, Rinnegan, Rishigan, and the Mangekyo Sharingan. But when activated, it drains 5 times the normal amount from a Dujutsu. Amazing, Kakashi said in disbelief. Because of the drain, I won't use it often. Only when I need to, kind of like a trump card. Naruto deactivated his new Dujutsu and popped a solder pill. Ah, that's better, Naruto said. See you later. Great, just great. If Sasuke finds out about this Dujutsu of his, well, I don't want to think of what he might do, Kakashi thought as he returned to the others. Mid-author's notes. While he may seem overpowered, if he has the Kamigan activated for too long, he will suffer from chakra exhaustion. Like he said, it's like having all 5 Dujutsus activated at once. Later at Tazuna's, I have a feeling Zabuza's going to be back soon, Kakashi said. Yes, he is stubborn, so chances are his recovery was shortened, Naruto said with his arms crossed and eyes shut. I suspect he might be back tomorrow. Well, let's try not to think of that. The next day Naruto gave them trouble on getting up and eventually won out. I got to be here when those thugs arrive, he thought. 10 minutes later, he heard a door slam open and knew it was time to intervene. Who are you? What are you doing here? Tsunami asked, panic obvious in her voice. The boss wants you, one of them said, and he said we could have some fun while getting you. The other said, causing both to smirk. Hey, what's going on down here? Naruto said, his soul guards ACITVATED. 3, it's just a kid, we can take him. One said, oh really? Naruto said, then disappeared. The next moment he was behind the two, his soul guards deactivated. Then the two collapsed, their jugular veins cut. He created and clone. You stay here and watch them, it's time for me to go to the bridge. He said. He released the resistance seal on his chest and with a burst of speed was at the bridge within seconds. He replied the seal. Well, right on cue. Sasuke getting his ass kicked, Zabuza and Kakashi fighting, and Sakura watching Tazuna. He jumped into the ice dome that housed the Uchiha. Yo, Naruto said. You idiot, you could have found out how to destroy this thing if you stayed out there. Now we're both sitting ducks. Sasuke said, pissed. Well, there is a duck sitting on your head. As for how to destroy this thing, I already know how. Naruto said, grinning. How? Sasuke asked. With this, Rishigan. The Dobi has a dujutsu? This dujutsu, the Rishigan, can see chakra flow from objects and people and can absorb the chakra. Naruto said. He focused on a 360 chakra consumption, leaving out Sasuke and Haku of course. There, he said. A moment later, the mirrors started to fade and melt. Damn it, Haku cursed. Sasuke sent a punch to Haku's face sending her flying. He then sent 4 kunai aimed to hit her in the chest. Naruto used his advanced wind control and made a breeze that put the weapons off course. Sasuke then rushed again and sent a punch breaking her mask. Haku, knowing she couldn't win, begged them to end her life. With the pounding Sasuke gave her she couldn't even move right. Please, kill me. I'm a broken tool, I failed Zabuza-sama. She said as tears started to run her face. No, Sasuke said. Naruto was actually proud that he refused. Please, I am of no use to him. I have no purpose, she yelled with a sob. Just then what sounded like birds chirping originated from Kakashi and Zabuza's area. Haku looked and saw Zabuza unable to move and Kakashi charging a Reikiri in his hand. On second thought I have one mission she said and did some hand seals. A mirror appeared and Naruto realized that when he reactivated the resistance seal he would not be fast enough to make it. Shit. I guess I have no choice. He brought his hand to his chest and focused. A second later a black light appeared and disappeared on his chest. He brought his right hand up and said, Time of Void. Time instantly stopped and a black flame-like energy surrounded Naruto's right arm. Shit, this hurts. He ran in between Kakashi and Haku and pushed her out of the way. He went to push Zabuza out of the way too when the pain in his arm became too much and he lost focus. The flames died and time resumed. Seconds later a Reikiri was impaled through his chest. Everybody's eyes widened. Naruto. Everyone except Zabuza thought, did this kid really just do this? Kakashi quickly pulled his hand out of Naruto's chest and Naruto coughed up some blood. Naruto. Shit, damn it, Kakashi said while trying to stop the bleeding. Damn, I'm in deep shit. Naruto said and laughed a bit. Naruto, save your breath. Suddenly everyone heard clapping. What a show. The blonde kid killed by his own teacher. This is too good. It was Gato. Gato. Naruto said. Oh, so you're not dead yet. Gato said. No, but you will. Naruto forced himself up onto his feet. I got one good go left in me, and I plan on killing you with it. Naruto focused and soon he was engulfed in black flame and he felt the same pain from his arm, only all over his body and 5 times worse. When the flames dissipated, a man around 6'0" was standing there in a black and red armor. I am the Void, Naruto, now known as Void said. He summoned his sword and when he took it, it morphed and grew around the size of Zabuza's giant meat cleaver. It was pure red and had a crimson eye in the middle that put fear into anyone that saw it. He quickly rushed and cut down anyone in his path. When he reached Gato, he held up his left hand and said, Void shot. A black beam similar to the fire from before shot from his hand. It hit Gato and suddenly Gato grabbed his head and screamed in pain. Moments later he stopped and fell to his hands and knees. Then numerous wounds appeared on his body and he screamed in pain once more. Eventually, his body went numb and he could no longer feel the pain. Then suddenly, all the people he cared for, while few, popped up in his head. He saw them being killed, raped, you name it, he saw it. Eventually the beam dissipated and Gato started to beg for death. Please, kill me. He begged. No, Void said. He threw him at the villagers he saw coming and said have fun. He walked back to the others and the armor disappeared along with the sword. He fell to the ground, the wound back and cursed. He focused and said, Hand of the healer. The black flame covered his left hand and he hovered it above the wound. Slowly the wound started to close. When the wound closed, he moved his hand over to his other hand and healed it. Once that was done he released the flames to reveal a bloody and mangled hand. He focused some of his Kyuubi chakra into his right hand and hovered it over his left. The wounded hand slowly healed and he asked Haku a question. So, do you trust me now? She slowly nodded her head. And Zabuza, would you like to come back with us? I owe you both mine and Haku's life. I will go. He said. Good, now can I have my ring back? He asked. Haku handed his ring back to him. Thank you. After a quick explanation, they went back to Tazuna's home. When they got there, they saw Team 8 on watch. When they saw Zabuza they got ready to attack only for Kakashi to tell them how they are on the same side. They noticed Naruto wincing from time to time, and holding onto his chest. They noticed dry blood on it and had him lay down on the couch. They cut the shirt off and noticed a scar right through where his heart is. What happened? Kurenai asked. I was going to finish Zabuza with a rakery when his apprentice jumped in the way. Naruto quickly pushed her out of the way and took the rakery to the chest. Kakashi said, still a little upset that he had wounded his student. Wait, then how come there is only a scar and no wound? She asked. He used some advanced medical ninjutsu to heal it. But given how bad the wound was, it wasn't completely healed. Kakashi said, Hey Naruto, what was that thing you turned into when you did whatever it was you did to Gato? Kakashi asked now thinking about it. That was known of as the Void Guardian. My master gave me the power you saw when I finished his training. He said, again with this master of his. Alright then, you get some rest. Kakashi said. Nodding his head, Naruto passed out right there. That was to close. You know if you die after using a void move you will be temporarily mortal. Shinigami said to Naruto in his mindscape. Yeah, I know. I just didn't have time to deactivate the resistance seal. Naruto said. Be glad you didn't die or else you would have been stuck here for 2 weeks with your team and the other team thinking you were gone for good. Yeah, I know. Well if that was all, I would really like to get some actual rest. Naruto woke up the next day, his wounds completely healed, and stood up. Damn, I got to fix my shirt. He said, looking at his shirt that was both cut open and pierced by lightning. He picked it up and activated his soul guards. Soon, purple threads could be seen coming from the blades and connecting to the shirt, repairing it and making it look brand new, except for the blood on it of course. He walked downstairs, still holding it to find everyone in the kitchen, Kiba playing with Akamaru and Zabuza looking like he would pass out any minute. The moment he made it to the last step though, Akiko noticed Naruto. Naruto-kun, are you alright? She asked seeing him coming down. Yeah, I just need to clean the blood of my shirt. He said while holding up. Wait, wasn't that thing practically destroyed? Zabuza asked, showing that he was indeed awake. It was, but I fixed it. He said, alright then, I'm going to the river to clean this thing off. Bye. And with that he was gone via Shadow Walk. 1. Naruto appeared in front of the river near the clearing that, thanks to him, got an extension. He washed his shirt off and dried it with a simple D-ranked fire jutsu. He put his shirt on and Shadow walked back to the house. He appeared right behind Zabuza but Zabuza didn't notice him. This is going to be too good, Naruto thought. He charged some lightning chakra in his hand and pushed it towards Zabuza's back. Raiden. Taser level 2. Shit, Zabuza screamed, feeling the shock run through his body. Ha 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 ha, that was hilarious. Naruto managed to let out while laughing. You little shit, I'll kick your ass. Zabuza said grabbing Naruto by the collar of his shirt. Fine, I could use a good sparring match. Naruto said, grinning. Zabuza, put him down. Said Akiko as she came into the room. Alright, so when? Zabuza said. 1 hour, there's a clearing near a river that looks like it was expanded a bit. We fight there. Got it, said Zabuza. Two figures could be seen walking into a clearing, one holding a giant sword on his back while the other had a hood on. Ready, Buza? Naruto asked. Yay, but I don't see a sword on you. Zabuza replied. Naruto pulled a scroll out, unraveled it, cut his thumb, and spread the blood on it. A poof was seen, and in Naruto's hand was a sword with a red dragon design and black and silver on the handle. This is my sword, Naruto said. Wait, I've heard of a sword with a design like that. Zabuza said, adopting a thinking pose. I'm not surprised. This legendary sword is known as the Baransu no Ken. A sword crafted by the Namikaze clan. At this Zabuza paled. That is the Baransu no Ken. Zabuza screamed. Yep, and it works with my stance too, only 2 other swords do. I own one of them and Akiko fought you with the other. Akiko suddenly appeared in the clearing. Alright, this is to be a Kenjutsu only fight. No Gen or Ninjutsu allowed. Naruto drew his sword and Zabuza picked his up. Fight, she said, then jumped out of the clearing. Naruto suddenly rushed Zabuza and attempted to bisect him. The two were at a stalemate in power, so they both jumped back. Shi number Dusatsu Ryoku, 2. Naruto suddenly disappeared only to reappear in front of Zabuza. Shi number Tubo, 3. Naruto suddenly sent a kick towards Zabuza's face. Zabuza was unable to dodge and was sent flying into the air. Shi number Sutareki, 4. Suddenly 150 cuts appeared on Zabuza's body. Damn, I'm getting my ass handed to me. Shi number Saigo no Shunken, 5. Naruto brought his sword down and hit Zabuza straight in the chest, sending him straight into the ground. Winner, Naruto. Akiko said after coming back out. Shit, that hurt. Wait, you hit me in the chest. Shouldn't I be in half or something? Zabuza asked while holding his chest. I flipped Baransu no Ken backwards so you would be hit by the blunt side. Naruto said. Well damn, it hurt. Zabuza said. Hey, you issued the challenge. Naruto responded. Still. Zabuza said, wincing. Here, let me take a look. Naruto hovered his hand over Zabuza's chest and saw that he had 3 broken ribs and 2 fractured ribs. He focused some of his Kyuubi chakra into his hand and slowly Zabuza could feel the pain ebbing away. Thanks kid, Zabuza said. No problem, Naruto said. Well, I'm going to head home, you two coming? Zabuza asked. No, I'm going to stay here. Akiko, I would like to talk to you about something though. Naruto said. Well, if you need me, I'll be at Tazuna's house. And with that Zabuza left. What did you want to talk to me about? Akiko asked. Would you like to get something to eat sometime? Naruto asked, looking down. Naruto-kun? Sure, I would love to. Akiko said. Naruto looked up and saw that she was blushing. Naruto's mind shut down after that and he had no clue what to say. Naruto-kun? Hello? Akiko said, waving a hand in front of his face. Huh? Oh, I guess I zoned out. Naruto said sheepishly while scratching the back of his head. They then left to Tazuna's house. After they made it back, it was time to eat, so they sat down, and after dinner was over with, everyone was sitting around talking. Naruto-kun, how did you and Akiko meet? Asked Hinata. Well, it was 3 years ago. Flashback. Naruto was using his break to explore Iwa. He had his hood up as to keep people from seeing his hair. He heard yelling and saw a mob and decided to follow. He hopped onto the rooftops and followed while staying hidden. Eventually, he saw the mob stop in an alley and they were ganging up on a girl the age of 10. Kill her, burn her, and other things were being yelled by people in the mob. One stepped up towards her with a kunai. Time to die, for what your family did. The nin said. Naruto saw enough. He jumped down and grabbed the man's arm. He seemed to be a chunin, and a rookie at that. Who the hell are you? Let me go, he said. Not until you tell me why you were about to kill an innocent girl. Naruto said, releasing some of his Shinigami chakra, 6, to make his voice sound more demonic. Her family betrayed this village. He said, 2 things. How, and why take it out on her? Naruto said, they were said to be the best, they went to kill the 4th but failed. We are trying to wipe her clan off the face of the planet. Now let me go, he demanded. Naruto just squeezed harder, breaking the nin's arm. Damn it, you son of a bitch. He went to grab at Naruto when suddenly Naruto shoved his hand through the nin's chest. What? How? He said before coughing up blood and dying. Naruto suddenly started some hand seals and when he finished he used his Shinigami chakra. Gates of hell, he said. Suddenly everyone there were being dragged down into what they could only guess were the gates of hell. Help, was all he heard before they were consumed. He turned around towards the little girl. He activated his Shinigami vision, 5, and looked at her. Odd, her soul is stronger than most people. He thought, that's because she has a high spiritual awareness. Something rare to be born with. I had to increase yours. With this you could teach her. It might be a good thing to take on an apprentice of your own. Shinigami said, you're right, I'll do it. Besides, if I don't, she'll be dead within the week. Naruto told Shinigami, what's your name? Naruto asked. Akiko Natsubase. She said, scared of the man before her. Don't worry, I'm a friend. Let me ask you something. Would you like to be able to protect yourself? Naruto asked as he bent down. The girl broke down and started to cry. Why yes, I'm tired of being beaten for no reason. She said as she cried. He just rubbed her back. Then come with me. Naruto stood up and took her hand. He shadow walked outside of the village. Stay here. Do not leave unless your life is in danger. Naruto said. He took a kunai and dug it into his throat. Mister. She ran over to Naruto's lifeless body and started to cry but listened to the last thing he said. Naruto appeared in limbo a moment later. Alright, I could use a pair of soul guards for her training. Naruto said as he walked up to the death god. Good luck, here you go. Oh, and don't kill her with your training. Shinigami said chuckling. Yay, yay, see you. He went to the seal in his room and reappeared where his dead body was. Alright, I'm back, Naruto said to the weeping girl. What's wrong? He asked. She suddenly jumped towards him and started to cry. I thought you were dead. She said while crying. I was just getting you something. He said as he pulled out the soul guards. Here you go, try them on. She looked at them then towards him and saw he was wearing a pair as well. She put them on and soon they started to glow. What's going on? She asked, afraid that he may have tricked her. They're just fitting so they will only work for you. He said as he activated his. He started to create spirit threads and weaved them together to make an outfit similar to his. Akiko was mesmerized at this. That was so cool, she said. Hee hee, I guess it was. Well here you go, he said as he handed her the new outfit. It's special, it won't burn. It grows with you so you don't have to get it replaced, and it looks cool. He said the last part laughing to himself. 5 minutes later Akiko walked back to the clearing Naruto was at. Why are you helping me? She asked. Because I know what it feels like. He said with a pained smile. You do? She asked. Yes, in fact a couple of years ago, I had my arm cut off. Naruto said, remembering the day he was attacked near the Hokage Tower. I was taken to the hospital and they reattached it. But it hurt, Naruto said. Flashback ends. That's about it, Naruto said. Wait, but you were at the academy, we saw you. Sakura said. That's the beauty of the shadow clone jutsu. Naruto said with a chuckle. For 3 years, it was a shadow clone at the academy. But with all the spars it lost, it should have dispelled. Sakura said again. I pumped it with almost all the chakra I had. Enough to last 5 years being constantly tortured. Naruto said. Well, everyone, we are going back to Konoha. Kakashi said. Finally, said Kiba. He was promptly smacked in the back of the head by Kurenai. Show some respect, she scolded him. Whatever, he mumbled under his breath. Naruto, deciding he was tired, went to bed. Naruto and the rest of the group was walking home when Naruto decided to have a little fun. Hey, Buza, Naruto said. What, you brat? Zabuza said, clearly annoyed. Still mad I kicked your ass? Naruto said. Ha ha ha, first his apprentice, now him. Kakashi said while laughing. That fight with Akiko alone was hilarious. You guys should have let me know, I would have loved to watch. Kakashi said, before falling to his knees from laughing so hard. Quote, yay, yay, yay. Big deal. So the kid beat me, stop laughing and let's go before I kick you back. Zabuza said while readying a kick. Kakashi stood up. Alright, he said, the laughter dying down. The rest of the trip was uneventful, they just walked and talked, mostly the genin, other than Naruto, asking Zabuza what was like being a missing nin and other things. When they got back, they saw that the guards were asleep, again. Naruto went through some hand seals before activating the big head jutsu. "You guys, wake up!" Naruto yelled. What the? Who's there?" one of the guards asked. "Teams 7 and 8 reporting back," Kakashi said. The second guard looked at them all before his eyes narrowed. "Why is Zabuza Momoichi with you?" he asked while inching for a kunai. "We wish to join the ranks of Konoha," Zabuza said. "Fine, but we are going to have to restrain you, just in case you're lying," the first guard said, still not trusting him. Kakashi pulled out a tag. "Fine, this will neutralize his chakra and restrict his movements." He placed the tag onto Zabuza's forehead and he suddenly fell to the ground. Ow! Later in the Hokage's office you could see the two teams, Zabuza, Akiko, and Haku standing. Well, Zabuza was laying on the couch with the seal still on his forehead. "Do you mind taking this thing off? It's uncomfortable," Zabuza said. "First, explain to me what happened and why is Zabuza and two unknowns here?" Sarutobi said. They explained all that happened and by the end the old Hokage was rubbing his temples and sighed. "Fine, take the tag off." "Thank you," Zabuza said. "Now Naruto, could you explain what this void is?" Sarutobi asked. "Well, it's a powerful and limitless chakra that, while powerful, has a lot of negative side effects," Naruto said. "Like what?" Kakashi asked. "Well, there's the ability to stop time called Time of Void. But that burns a person's arm so badly that the arm becomes unusable," Naruto said. "In fact, if it wasn't for my knowledge of medical ninjutsu and my incredible healing, I would have lost my arm. In that case I'm going to have to add that to the scroll of sealing as AS ranked Kenjutsu," Sarutobi said. "Do what you wish. Now is that all?" Naruto asked. "Yes, you are dismissed." And with that they all left. Naruto and Akiko could be seen walking down the street, hand in hand. "So, where to Naruto-kun?" she asked. "I know a place, hold on, here we are." They stopped in front of Ichiraku Ramen. "Let's go in." Their date wasn't big but to them, it was special. They made it to Naruto's house. "Wow, you own this place?" she asked, seeing the huge house in which Naruto bought before going on the wave mission. They went in and sat down, Akiko in his lap, asleep. Naruto just smiled and picked her up, carried her to his bedroom, and laid her down in his bed. "Good night, Akiko Haim." With that he kissed her on the forehead and went back to the living room. Shortly after Natsumi came out of another room. "Hello, Natsumi Haim," Naruto said smiling. "Hello, Naruto-kun. So how was the date?" she asked. "Great," he said. "Well, I hope you haven't forgotten about me," Natsumi said while crawling onto his lap. The next day, Naruto was at a random training ground before he ran through some hand seals. "I hope this works." Shinigami Arts. Dead Soul Resurrection. His Shinigami chakra leaked from his body, slowly creating a body of a woman. After the body was done, a glow emanated from the body. After this was all done, there, standing where the body once was Kushina Uzumaki, 1. Where am I?" she asked, looking around. "Damn, it worked," Naruto said on his hands and knees panting. "But it took a lot out of me," he said before collapsing onto his chest. "Minato, is that you?" Kushina asked. "What's going on?" "Sorry, I am Naruto Uzumaki, and I just brought you back from the dead," he said. Wait, what?" she asked, wondering what was going on. "I said I brought you back to the world of the living, you're no longer dead," Naruto said, standing up. "How? Wait, what did you say your name was?" she asked. "Naruto Uzumaki, the spirit king of Konoha, and your son," he said while dusting his trench coat off. "Son? My son died," she said as she started to cry. "Oh yes, I forgot Danzo told you I died, you died the next day." "I am your son, I swear this on my life," Naruto said. "Prove it," she said, getting angry. Fine, fine." He lifts up his shirt and focuses his chakra. Soon a seal appears on his stomach. "This enough proof?" he said. "Shiki Fujin," she said in disbelief. "It's true." Kushina breaks down and starts crying. Naruto walks up to her and pulls her into a hug. "That day, I thought you were dead," she said, still crying. By time she stopped, she started to think. "Wait, you said you brought me back, but how?" Kushina said, finally thinking about it. "Shinigami Arts. Dead Soul Resurrection. A special jutsu that allows the user to resurrect and give life back to the dead," Naruto said. "What a jutsu. How did you get your hands on it though?" She asked. My master gave it to me. Naruto said. Wait, master? Kushina asked, curious as to who his master was. Yes, Naruto said. At this Kushina promptly fainted. I should have seen that one coming. The resurrection jutsu takes a lot out of both the user and the one being brought back. He picked her up and carried her home. When he got there he saw Akiko sitting next to Natsumi. Both were talking. Hello, how are you two doing? Naruto asked. The two turned and saw Naruto carrying Kushina. Naruto-kun, who's she? Akiko asked. Kushina Uzumaki, my mother. He said. Akiko's eyes widened. You used that jutsu? I thought Shinigami-sama said you weren't allowed. She said. He gave me permission yesterday. Naruto said. Oh. Naruto took Kushina and laid her down in his bed and left the room. Naruto was walking around Konoha when two people in green spandex came up to him. Yash, Naruto-kun, when did you get back? Guy asked. Yesterday. Naruto said while shrugging his shoulders. Is that offer for you to train with us still open? Lee asked. Yay. Naruto said, getting ready for whatever might happen next. Well then, let's go. Suddenly, the three were gone. They appeared in training ground 9 a moment later. What just happened? Naruto asked while trying to stand up straight. The power of youth. Both Guy and Lee yelled. Oh, well, are we going to talk or train? Naruto asked. Your flames of youth burn brightly, Naruto-kun. Guy said. I say we start off with a sparring match, me versus Lee. Naruto said. I accept your challenge. Lee said. In that case, I suggest you two take your weights off, and I'll turn up my resistance seal. At that Lee looked at Guy. Go for it, Lee. Show him how brightly your flames of youth burn. Guy said. Lee took his weights off and Naruto turned his seal off. This will be a taijutsu spar only. Naruto, that means no nin or genjutsu. Guy said. Hi. Naruto got into his stance and Lee got into his. Fight. The two rushed each other but Naruto was faster. He threw a punch that connected with Lee's side and sent him flying. He crashed through 2 trees and collided against a third. Guy's eyes widened. What speed, what power, Kakashi wasn't lying. He thought. Lee walked back into the clearing and ran at Naruto. He threw a punch at Naruto but Naruto caught it and sent a jab towards Lee's stomach. Lee just barely evaded it and backed away. What speed and power. If that were to have hit me. He stopped thinking about that. Naruto disappeared in a burst of speed and appeared in front of Lee. Lee's eyes widened. Lee, I give you permission. Guy said. Lee nodded his head and focused. He lunged at Naruto and kicked him into the air. The bandages around his arms unraveled and he started to kick him farther and farther into the air. Suddenly he appeared right next to Naruto's upside-down form and wrapped the bandages around him. Front Lotus. The two started to spin and Naruto was suddenly brought headfirst into the ground. Lee was left panting. Well, that packed quite a punch. Naruto said while leaving the crater he was in. Both Lee and Guy were shocked. He just walked out of there. Naruto rushed at Lee and sent a kick sending him flying into the air. My turn. Front Lotus. Lee was knocked out after they hit the ground. He'll be alright, Naruto said while walking towards him. He moved his hands over him and soon a green chakra enveloped his hands and started to heal the damage done to Lee. There we go. Resistance Seal, 32. Naruto said while reactivating his resistance seal. Lee woke up 5 minutes later. Good spar, Lee. Naruto said as he got up and left. Maybe we can do it again. What happened, Guy-sensei? Lee asked. He used the front lotus on you. Guy answered. With Naruto. I should visit Enko-chan. Naruto headed off towards the forest of death. He was strolling along when suddenly he felt a presence behind him. Hello, Enko-chan, Naruto said while turning around. Hello, Gaki, she said. She cut his cheek and licked the blood off her kunai. Your blood is sweet, she said. Really? Naruto took out a kunai and cut his arm. He let some of the blood pour into his hand and took a sip. You're right, my blood is sweet. You actually did that? Wow, she said, slightly shocked that he just did that. Yay, I came up with a prank to pull on Kakashi, you in? Naruto asked. Sure, Gaki, she said. So, what's the prank? You know how he practically worships his porn, right? Well, I plan on stealing it all and force him to pay for them back, but when he comes to pick them up, we burn them. So what do you think? Genius. So when do we start? Anko asked. Now. They both disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Snake to Spirit King, what's your location? I'm in his house. I tell you, the amount of porn I found. And I do not want to talk about his room. Naruto shuddered. Okay. I got it all, I'm going to the meeting point. Naruto said. Naruto left but was almost speared. Who are you and what are you doing with my Icha? Kakashi screamed. Shit, I've been comprised. Get out of there now. Anko said over the headset. Naruto shunshined out of the house. Damn it, my Icha. Kakashi yelled. Shit, that was too close. Naruto said. Good thing you were able to get out. Anko said. If you would excuse me, I'm going to go for a swim, you want to join me? Naruto asked. Why not? The two went to the nearest lake and Naruto started to weave a bathing suit for both Anko and him. What was that? Anko asked as she changed. A spirit weave. It's where I manipulate my soul and use my soul guards to create threads using my soul to power them. Naruto said, also changing. As he was changing, Anko caught a look and saw how big his mini Naruto. She started to blush. Damn, he's huge, she thought. After they were changed they started to swim. Anko suddenly lost Naruto. Gaki, where'd you go? Anko got out of the water and started looking. Suddenly a pair of arms wrapped around her waist. Right here, Naruto said while hugging Anko from behind. Anko started to blush. Miss me? No, I was just worried that I would have to tell Hokage-sama that I lost you. She said while trying to get control of her blush. Whatever you say, Anko-heim. Naruto said. Anko's blush just got worse. Anko turned around to look at Naruto but when she did he kissed her. She at first was shocked but started to melt into the kiss. The two soon parted to breath. Where'd that come from? Anko asked after catching her breath. I can see people's souls if I want and because of that I'm able to an extent, view a person's emotions as well. I looked at your soul and saw love. Naruto explained. Well then Naruto-kun, I guess you cheated. Anko said laughing. I wouldn't say that I cheated, Anko-heim. Naruto said with a smirk. Whatever, I still say you cheated. Anko said. Think what you will, you should know I'm the last of my clan. Naruto said, his expression saddening. Wait, that means you had to deal with Clan Restoration Act. Anko said. Yay. Naruto said while looking at the ground. Well, how many others are you with? Anko asked, a smile creeping its way onto her face. 2. Naruto said. Anko suddenly kissed him. Well remember this, as long as they're not fangirls, I'm alright with it. She said. Naruto pulled her into a deep kiss. Naruto was asleep in his bed when a crack of light made it through his blinds and hit him in the face. Damn, I hate waking up this way. He got up and went to his closet and got dressed. He left his room and was making his way towards the kitchen when a pair of arms wrapped around his neck. Thanks for letting me stay the night Naru-kun, Anko said. No problem Anko-chan, he said as he turned around to kiss her. Suddenly a door opened and they looked to see Kushina exiting the room. Naruto put her in while clutching her head. What hit me? She said. Kushina. Good to see you're finally up, it's been 2 days. Naruto said. 2 days, she screamed. Well, bringing you back took a toll on both you and me, you more so. Naruto said. Naru-kun, who is she? Anko asked. This is Kushina Uzumaki, my mother. Naruto said. Wait, I thought your mother was dead. Anko stated. You're right, she was dead. Thanks to a jutsu my master taught me I was able to bring her back to life. Naruto said. Anko remembered Orochimaru having a jutsu that could bring the dead back and she suddenly assumed the worst. As far as she knew, Edo Tensei was the only jutsu to exist that could bring the dead back. And no, I thought I could trust you, but you work for him. You just toyed with me, no doubt following orders. She said with sadness and anger written on her face. What? Oh, you actually think I would work for someone like Orochimaru, the one that caused the Kyuubi attack and took away my father? He said, my master can only be met in death. And as such he has jutsus that can take a person straight to hell, rip a person's soul from their body, resurrect the dead, and more. The jutsu I used was not Edo Tensei but Shinigami arts, dead soul resurrection. He said finishing his short speech. He walked up to the shocked Anko and gave her a hug and kissed her. I promise on my life that he is not my master and that I love you. Naruto said while looking into her eyes. Ahem, I'm still here you know. They heard Kushina say. They both turned to look at her and they smiled sheepishly. "You're most likely hungry, let me make some breakfast," Naruto said and walked into the kitchen, the two in tow. He made breakfast for 5 and Kushina rose her eyebrow. "Why 5 plates?" she asked. 3, 2, 1. As Naruto finished his countdown, Akiko and Natsumi came in and sat down. They started to eat and when they took their first bite their eyes widened. Soon they finished and Naruto was washing plates. "That was great, Naruto-kun," Akiko said. "As always," Natsumi said in agreement. Naruto just rubbed the back of his head. "It wasn't that good," Naruto said, being modest. Kushina finally decided to ask who the other two were at this point. "Naruto, who are these two?" Kushina asked while motioning towards Akiko and Natsumi. "Hello, I'm Akiko Matsunami. And I'm Natsumi Uzumaki." Kushina's eyes widened. "Uzumaki? Who were your parents?" Kushina asked. "I don't have any," Natsumi said. "I'm not a member of the clan by birth." "Wait, that would mean." Kushina started. Anko, Akiko, and Natsumi walked up to Naruto and turned him around. "We're all with him," the three said in unison. Kushina at first was shocked, but she remembered how Naruto is the last of the Namikaze clan and was the last of the Uzumaki clan. "Clan Restoration Act," she said after she figured it out. "Yep," the three said again. "So, may I ask, how long have you all been with my son?" Kushina asked. 5 days, Anko said. 2 weeks, Akiko said. 9 years, Natsumi said. Kushina's eyes widened. 9 years, she exclaimed. "You would have had to be with him since he was 4. Anko too was shocked. "I guess I should explain how we've been together for so long," Naruto said. He starts explaining how he saw the end of Konoha and killed Orochimaru, to him becoming the Shinigami's apprentice. Leaving out details of course. 5 minutes later, and you could see a shocked Anko and Kushina. "That's a lot to take in, isn't it?" Naruto said. "You think?" was Anko's reply. "It was either come back or me be the last person in the world. I think I made the right choice." Naruto said. "Well, I'm going to go train, you might want to come with me, Kushina." "Hey, I'm your mother, you don't have to call me by my name." Kushina replied. "When you lived with barely anyone there for you with everyone hating you and no parents, it's hard to call someone mom." Naruto replied. At this, Kushina looked down, sad that she could not have been there for her son. "But I'm alright," he said, but she could see the pain in his eyes. "I'll take you up on that training offer, I feel pretty weak compared to how I was before." She said. "It's a result of being brought back, you will only be as strong as you were when you died, and seeing as you weren't in your best health at the time, this is where you are at." Naruto explained. "Well let's go shall we?" With that the two were off. "So, what are we going to do?" Anko asked. Natsumi got an evil glint in her eyes. "I got an idea," she said. 5 hours later and you could see Naruto and Kushina panting and trying to catch their breaths. "Even when weakened, you're good," Naruto said. "Thanks, you're good too," Kushina replied. Naruto walked over to a tree and sat down under it. Kushina following after. Naruto took a look at the destruction and remembered how the village looked before he came back. His expression saddened, something Kushina noticed. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I just remembered how things were before I came back," he said, on the verge of tears. "It was something I never wanted to see. I was going to be the Hokage the next week, but I couldn't stop the destruction of the village." Naruto said, a few tears falling. Kushina looked at him, causing him to raise his gaze from the ground. Their eyes connected and soon their lips met. They soon parted for air and looked back up. They realized what just happened but didn't care. They met in another lip lock and soon the two once again parted for air. They soon left for home. When they made it, they saw that Akiko, Anko, and Natsumi writing something. "What are you writing?" Naruto asked. "Oh nothing, it just you remember the icha you took from Kakashi. Well we came up with the meeting place and time. Wednesday in the women's side of the hot springs." Anko said. "Why Wednesday?" Kushina asked. "It's half off for Kunoichi that day, and my friend, Kurenai, is always there Wednesday. With her being a master of genjutsu, she will say right through Kakashi's transformation." Anko said. Soon, Naruto had the same grin the other three had. "Genius," he said. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door so Naruto wnet and answered it. When he got there, he saw Kakashi standing there with an emergency copy of Icha in hand. We got a mission, Team 7 and Anko. With that, Kakashi shunshined away. Anko, we got a mission. Naruto yelled. Alright, let's get going then. Naruto took her arm and the two disappeared via shadow walk. They appeared in the Hokage's office a second later. We're here, Naruto said. He looked around and saw the rest of Team 7 staring at him, as well as Team 8, Zabuza, and Haku. What? He asked. Nothing. Now, this is a high-low S-ranked mission I'm giving Team 7, Anko Mitarashi, Team 8, and Zabuza and his apprentice. Sarutobi said. The people there, save Naruto, Anko, Zabuza, and Kakashi, were shocked. Suddenly, Kiba jumped up and started to cheer. Hokage-sama, why are you giving us a mission like this, and more importantly, what is the mission? Kurenai asked. This is an escort mission for the daughter of the Fire Daimyo. The aged man said. At once everyone's eyes widened. Send her in, Sarutobi yelled. Suddenly, a girl who looked to be around the age of 14 walked in. She was 5 feet 4 with an elegant pink kimono. Her blue hair reached down to the middle of her back. Her eyes were a light red and they seemed to almost glow. Thank you for your help, I am Matsui Amara, she said. Naruto noticed that, even though she was a princess, she didn't sound stuck up like most of the Hyugas or Uchihas. Interesting, last time I met a princess that wasn't stuck up, she also knew how to hold her own against some bandits. Naruto thought while analyzing her. Feeling that someone was staring at her, she looked around and saw that it was Naruto. Why are you staring at me? She asked. You don't seem stuck up like someone in royalty might be. Naruto replied. She stared at a moment before noticing his looks. She promptly blushed, something that didn't go unnoticed by Naruto. You are to escort her back home. You will be accompanied by her guards. As soon as the Hokage said that, 2 guys with red samurai armor and 2 long swords walked in. When do we leave? Naruto asked. In 3 days. Until then, she is going to stay at your house, Naruto. Naruto quirked an eyebrow. Why my house? He asked. Because, it's the safest and biggest. More room and more security. Sarutobi said. He remembered what the Fire Daimyo, an old friend of his, asked. Flashback. Sarutobi, my daughter is going to be on her way for a little vacation. I heard about one of your ninjas though, Naruto Uzumaki. I request that at the end of her vacation that she stay at his home and in 3 days' time, be escorted by his team and some others of your choice. The daimyo said to Sarutobi. What is with the request? I'm certain there are other places in which she can stay. Sarutobi said. I heard about Naruto, I was hoping that with this, that they may end up in a relationship. I know what he holds, and I heard about how bad a life he has led. My daughter has always been treated as royalty, no matter how much she detested it. I am hoping that they may find something in common, become friends, or maybe something more. The daimyo took a drink from the glass in his hand after finishing. So, you basically want me to help get them together? At this, the daimyo nodded. Sarutobi sighed. Very well. Flashback end. Alright then, dismissed. Everyone turned to leave. Outside, Naruto and Matsui walked towards each other. So, where do you live? She asked. Follow me. With that, he led her to his house. When they got there, she looked at the size of the house and was slightly surprised. Wow, almost as big as my home, she said. Well, let's go in. Naruto said while opening the door. The two walked in and Naruto was tackled by 4 women. Gah, can't breath, he said. The 4 let go and Anko rubbed the back of her head sheepishly. Kushina noticed Matsui and decided to ask who she was. Matsui however was shocked when she saw the 4 women. What the hell? Naruto, who is she? Kushina asked. This is Matsui Amara, the daughter of the Fire Daimyo. 3 of the 4 women's eyes widened. Why is she here then? Akiko asked. In 3 days, Squad 7 and 8 along with Zabuza, Haku, and Anko are going to escort her back home. Naruto replied. 3 of them nodded their heads while Anko smiled smugly. Matsui, I never properly introduced myself. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. I heard of those clans. The Uzumaki were from Whirlpool and the Namikaze were said to have been one of strongest clan in Konoha. I heard they were both wiped out though. Excuse me, I thought the Uzumaki and Namikaze clans were gone. She asked. Almost, I am the last of the Namikaze clan and me and Kushina, at this he points towards her, are the last 2 Uzumakis. Naruto said. So that makes you the clan head of both clan. But with you being the heir of two a most extinct clans. She suddenly realized, he is under the Clan Restoration Act. Well, who's hungry? As soon as Naruto asked that, Matsui's stomach growled. He, I didn't eat breakfast. She said. Naruto walked into the kitchen to prepare dinner. 45 minutes later, Naruto called out, and when they went in, they saw that everything was finished. Dig in. They all sat down and started to eat. When Matsui took her first bite, she instantly fell in love with his cooking. So, what do you think, Matsui-san? Naruto asked. It's amazing. I never had anything this good before. She exclaimed. Naruto just crossed his arms and laughed to himself. You tend to learn easier when you've lived alone most of your life. He said with a smile on his face. Matsui looked up. What do you mean, when you've lived alone most of your life? She asked. I'm an orphan, he replied. Well, was an orphan. I got to thank my master when I get the chance. He muttered the last part to himself. You're welcome, Shinigami said. I forgot you can talk through my mind. Wait, how could I forget that though? Oh well, how's dear old dad? Naruto asked. You should have seen his face when he saw you and Kushina making out. Haha, it was hilarious. Here, let me show you. He sent an image of Minato's face and Naruto suddenly fell to the ground laughing. Ha 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 ha. He stood up and wiped a tear from his eye. What was so funny? Matsui asked. Nothing, just remembered a joke. Well, let's finish eating. 15 minutes later, Naruto was finishing up the dishes when Matsui walked up to him. Naruto-san, where do I stay? She asked. Follow me. He led her up to the next floor and picked out the second room from the stairs on the right. Here you go. Anything else? Suddenly, Matsui's eyes widened. I forgot my clothes, she exclaimed. No worry. His soul guards started to glow and suddenly, an outfit around Matsui's size started to appear out of glowing threads that suddenly surrounded them. Here you go, Naruto said, handing her the clothing. How did you do that? She asked. I focused my soul as a source of power and used it to power my guards. They took that power and created spiritual threads that can be used to make any clothing. Or other thing even, he explained. Wow, where did you get them? She asked. Only two people have them, both being in this house. They wear a gift from my master and Akiko's wear a gift from me. A gift from master to apprentice. He said. Well, good night. He went downstairs and went to his room to find Kushina sitting on his bed. She jumped him and next thing he knew, she was laying on him, their lips connecting. A minute later and they parted. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Naruto said, a big smile on his face. The next morning Naruto woke up to find himself without any clothes. He felt a pressure on his chest and noticed a nude Kushina laying on him. He suddenly remembered what happened. Kushina-chan, wake up, he said as he started to shake her. She started to lift her head and opened her eyes. Good morning, Naru-kun, she said before she started to get off of him. She got off of the bed and realized, shit, I don't have any clothes. Just then, he heard a knock at the door. Put something of mine on while I go see who it is, Naruto said before he put on a shirt and some pants. He walked out and opened the door. Yes, who is it? Naruto asked. It's me, Kakashi, was the reply. Naruto opened the door and let him in. What are you doing here? He asked. Just wanted to visit. So, nice house, Kakashi said casually. Thanks, I'm going to make breakfast. Naruto went to the kitchen and began cooking. Kushina came out of Naruto's room and started to head towards the kitchen. She noticed Kakashi however and decided to talk to him. Kakashi, is that you? She asked. He turned his head and his visible eye widened. Kushina, is that you? He asked doubting it. Yay, it's been a while, hasn't it? She said casually. I thought you were dead. He said, dropping his icha and giving the woman a hug. I was, she said. Kakashi adopted a confused look on his face. Wait, you were? She nodded her head. Naruto walked out of the kitchen and made some clones. He told them to wake up the others and then walked over to Kushina and Kakashi. How are you alive then? Kakashi asked. Naru-kun brought me back, was her reply. His eye widened again. He brought you back? How? To say he was shocked was an understatement. Shinigami arts. Dead soul resurrection. Naruto said, startling Kakashi, who didn't notice him there. You have a jutsu that can revive the dead. Great, what next? You going to start using snakes and go on about immortality? Kakashi said. So, I'm going to guess that you know who your dad is as well? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded his head. Kushina wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him into a kiss. When they parted, they saw that Kakashi was shocked once more. Then his shocked appearance changed to a perverted one. Icha. Incest. Wait, till Jiraiya hears about this. Naruto just smacked the back of his head. Ero-sensei. Naruto grumbled. Kakashi noticed something. Wait, aren't those your clothes? He asked, his perverted look not leaving his face. You two didn't. Naruto just nodded and Kakashi's perverted look got worse. His mask started to get a red tint to it, a telltale sign that he had a nosebleed. Just then, Anko, Akiko, Natsumi, and Matsui came out. Good morning, he said. Kakashi looked between Naruto and the girls. Lucky bastard, he grumbled. Who's ready to eat? They all perked up and Naruto pointed towards the kitchen. Everyone went in and started to eat. 10 minutes later, Naruto clones were cleaning the dishes. Kakashi walked up to Naruto and whispered the question that's been bugging him the entire time. You brought your mother back but not your father? Naruto just replied, his soul was eaten by Shinigami-sama. Oh, any chance you could teach me that jutsu? Kakashi asked. Naruto shook his head. Sorry, it requires a special chakra. Naruto said. He went back into the kitchen and gave all the girls, except Matsui, a kiss. He felt a pull at the back of his mind that meant that Shinigami wanted to meet him. He rolled his eyes and had his nails elongate. He plunged his nails into his throat, effectively killing him. Kakashi and Matsui, being the only two that didn't know, panicked and tried to stop the bleeding. Don't worry, he's just meeting his master, said Natsumi. He just killed himself though. Kakashi said. In limbo. What is it, Shinigami-sama? Naruto asked. Look behind you. Naruto did as told and saw his dad there. Hi, Dad, Naruto said. You know, other fathers might have been pissed to see their kid and wife fuck, but as long as she is happy, I'm happy. You know, it's only 2 weeks before you're allowed to bring me back. Minato said. Naruto nodded his head. Yay. So, what are we going to do about this though? Naruto asked. What do you mean? Minato asked. Well, think about it. I'm with her but you were her husband for years. Naruto said. Minato sighed. I would just remind her of the past. I'm just going to have to move on, was his reply. But know this, you hurt her in any way and, son or not, I will kill you, said Minato. Actually, that would be impossible. I'm immortal, and the only time I do die is to come here to talk to Shinigami-sama, and even then, I just come back. Naruto said. You know what I mean. Minato said. You may want to go back now. Came the death god's voice. Very well. Goodbye for now. Naruto walked to the seal in his room and focused on appearing outside of his house. In the world of the living, Naruto opened the door to see Kakashi and Matsui panicking over the fact that Naruto's body just turned to dust. Hello, miss me? Naruto said as he walked into the kitchen. Kakashi and Matsui both looked and were started to see him standing there. How? The two asked. I went to visit my master, Naruto said. See, Natsumi yelled. Naruto shook his head and started to weave Kushina something to wear. Here you go, Kushina-chan, he said while handing her the clothes. She took them and went to the bathroom to change. Later that day, Naruto and Matsui could be seen walking through the village. You know, now that I think about it, you came here on vacation and you're staying an extra 3 days preparing. Yet, it seems to me that it's more of an extended vacation. Naruto said. You got a point, but I don't know, my dad said that I was to stay an extra 3 days. She said. Oh well, so what do you want to do? He asked. Maybe we could go train? She suggested. I like this girl, Naruto thought while laughing to himself. Okay, get on my back, Naruto said. She did as he said, but was confused as to why. He suddenly took off at high speeds towards Training Ground 7. Naruto woke up only to feel like someone dropped a ton of bricks on him. Damn, that girl can hit. Flashback. The two arrived at Training Ground 7 and Naruto was letting Matsui down. Alright, here we are. Training Ground 7, Naruto said. Well, I hope you can fight as good as you are fast. She said. Naruto just shook his head and laughed. You know I'm going to hold back, right? Naruto asked. That won't be as fun. She replied. Naruto shook his head. Ready? Go. The two rushed at each other. Naruto threw a left hook in which Matsui blocked. She retaliated with a kick to the face that effectively broke his nose. Damn it, Naruto focused some yokai into his face and his nose started to heal. Good thing it was just broken, Naruto said after his nose healed. Matsui just looked mad. Oh, come on. Naruto just started to laugh. Matsui rushed at Naruto and went to punch him in the chest. Naruto caught the fist, but as soon as he did, his hand went numb. Damn, she punches harder than I thought. Naruto felt feeling come back to his hand and ran around Matsui. She started to get dizzy trying to keep up and Naruto decided to strike. He rushed in and threw a punch that would have paralyzed her until he undid the effects. Before the punch connected though, Matsui panicked and suddenly, a yellow flash erupted from her that threw Naruto back. He looked towards her and realized what it was. Fuck, he rushed over and started some hand seals. Shinigami arts. Art of forbidden sealing. His left hand was encased in a white light. Fuin. He thrust his hand forward and the seal connected with her. The power started to recede into the seal. Once the strange power was completely sealed, Naruto pulled out a special scroll and hovered it above it. The seal moved from his hand onto the scroll. What the hell was that? Naruto asked. I don't know, but it really hurt, was his reply. He looked over and saw that Matsui was heavily burnt. Shit. Naruto ran over to her and focused some yokai into his hand. A dark green light enveloped his hand and he held his hand above Matsui. The burns started to dissipate and the pain disappeared. She looked up into his eyes and couldn't look away. Are you alright? Naruto asked. She nodded her head and Naruto looked relieved. That's good. Let's go home. He picked her up and carried her home. Flashback end. But what was that strange power? Naruto shook his head and decided it was a matter for a different time. He remembered something else though. He looked over and saw Matsui asleep. She refused to sleep anywhere else but with me. He got up and went to the other side of the bed and started to shake her. She soon started to drift to consciousness. Huh? She opened her eyes and saw Naruto. She suddenly pulled him into a hug. To say Naruto was shocked was like saying Sasuke's hair didn't look like a duck's ass. No, he was beyond shocked. His shocked appearance turned into a caring one. He rubbed her back and, to Naruto's shock, she started purring. That's when it hit him. That was Nibi's chakra, but it was just some. I don't sense Nibi in her, so it must have been some of her chakra. Well, it may be gone, but the influence is going to take a moment. Come on Matsui-chan, let's go get something to eat. She let go and nodded. An hour later, you could see the two walking out of a random dango shop. They were walking back when Matsui tripped and grabbed the first thing she could, Naruto. Naruto landed on his back with Matsui on top of him. She blushed and ended up staring into his eyes. They slowly inched towards each other and met in a kiss. The day of the mission. Hello, it's time for you guys to leave. As you know, this is a high A to low S ranked mission. Are you all prepared? He heard a chorus of hi and nodded. Alright, everyone but Naruto and Matsui, you are dismissed. When everyone left, Naruto and Matsui both walked up to the Hokage. Yes, Hokage-sama? Naruto asked. Matsui, your father requested that you stay at Naruto's house in the hopes that you two would end up in a relationship. He respected you both and just wanted the chance. He wasn't forcing it on you two. The two teens' eyes widened. Naruto sighed and looked over to Matsui. She looked at him, fear evident in her face. Naruto could tell that she was afraid that he would leave her because of this. He activated his Rishigan and tapped Matsui's arm. He then focused and pulled her into her mindscape. Where am I? She asked as she looked around and noticed that she was no longer in the Hokage's office. Your mindscape, Naruto replied. She turned around and saw that he was right behind her. But how? She asked. It is an ability of my dujutsu. If I touch someone, I can place a bit of my soul in them and will be able to pull them into their mindscape to do anything from talk to torture to even killing. 1. She got the same fearful face that she had in the office, but this time it was worse. He's going to torture me? Or even kill me? Naruto noticed this and pulled her into a hug. I would never hurt you, Matsui-chan, I love you. She returned his hug and started to cry. I love you too, Naruto-kun. They stood there for what seemed like hours. A couple of minutes later, she calmed down and looked at him. Can we leave now? Naruto nodded and took the bit of his soul he implanted back and released the both of them. Back in the office, the Hokage noticed the look of fear as well before he saw Naruto tap her arm. Then he noticed her appearance ease up. He saw Naruto take Matsui into his arms and realized that he wouldn't hurt her. Not that he would have in the first place. Alright, dismissed. The two left the tower and left towards the gate. When they arrived there, Kakashi asked what the Hokage wanted to talk to them about. It was nothing. The group left. Around 5 minutes later, Naruto was in a conversation with Shinigami. So, how is Dad doing right now? Good, but he is impatient. Sounds like him, hee. Suddenly, 5 men came rushing towards the group and attacked. Get the princess out of here, Naruto. Naruto grabbed Matsui and started to run. Suddenly, 3 more guys drop in front of the two. Naruto tries to think of something to do when a kunai hits him in the neck. Paralyzed, he falls to the ground, bringing Matsui with him. One grabs her and turns to leave when he got a sense of dread. He turned around and saw Naruto standing up, red chakra surrounding him, 9 tails swinging wildly behind him, and fox ears. Put her down. 2 of the 3 rush at him only to be burned alive by his chakra. I said, put her down. The 3rd man put her down and ran. Naruto focused and the chakra receded. He walks up to her and checks to see if she is alright. She opens her eyes and see him with the tails and fox ears and jumps up and starts petting his tails. So cute. Naruto chuckled and focused. Soon the tails and ears receded, leaving him to look like he did before. Naruto started some hand seals and then slammed his hands onto the ground. Shinigami Arts. Dark Barrier. Stay in here, I have to help the others. She nodded and Naruto took off. When he got there, he deactivated his resistance seal and jumped in. Time to test out my new weapon. It may be for silent assassinations but it will but fun nonetheless. He slammed his left hand into one of the nin's head and the guy fell down dead. Hidden blade kill, success. Suddenly, all the men that were attacking were cut in half. That takes care of that. Are you all alright? A man around 6 feet 1 with short, dirty blonde hair jumped down. His eyes were an odd color, grayish blue. There was a scar running from his right temple to his collarbone and he seemed to be fast but pretty big at the same time. My name's Akumu. And you guys are? The man now identified as Akumu asked. Kakashi Hitaki. Kurenai Yuhi. Anko Mitarashi. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto walked off to get Matsui. Where are you going? Kakashi asked. To get Matsui. Continue. Zabuza Momochi. Haku Momochi. Sasuke Uchiha. Sakura Haruno. Hinata Hyuga. Shino Aburame. Kiba Inuzuka. Okay, we're back. Naruto said as he walked up with Matsui. Hello, I am Matsui Amora. Hey, Akumu, how did you kill those guys? I didn't see a blade. And there wasn't a change in the wind. Naruto asked. It's my bloodline, it lets me use my chakra as a weapon. From blades to hammers and other things. It also lets me regain my chakra faster. Akumu said. What are you doing here, Akumu-san? Kakashi asked. Just traveling. My village was destroyed a couple of years ago. Akumu looked down at this. Well, feel free to come with us. Naruto offered. No, it's alright, he replied. I insist, Naruto said. Akumu sighed. Fine, so, were you guys going? He asked. 3 hours later, the group was setting up camp. They each agreed to sharing tents. Naruto and Haku, Kakashi and Matsui, Sakura and Hinata, Kiba and Kurenai, Shino and Anko, and Zabuza and Sasuke, with Akumu in his own tent. Naruto made 50 clones and spread them out to watch in case anyone came. Kakashi, you make any perverted move towards anyone here, and I will make you experience pain and torture that would make Orochimaru's stuff seem inviting. Naruto warned. Kakashi pale. Don't worry, I won't. Kakashi said. Good. Night everybody. With that, Naruto went inside the tent him and Haku were sharing. Later that night, a clone dispersed, waking Naruto. Shit, someone's here. He got up and woke Haku as well. I know you're there, show yourself. He heard chuckling and a man jumped down in front of him. Who are you? Naruto asked, pulling out Baransu no Ken. The man quirked an eyebrow and chuckled again. I am Tamashi. Now if you would so kind as to hand over the princess, I can get out of here. The man said. No way, I'll never let you have Matsui-chan. Naruto yelled, waking everybody up. What's going on? Kakashi asked as he left his and Matsui's tent. He then noticed Naruto draw his sword and run at a hooded figure. The man raised his arm and the sword bounced off. "Would you please just stand down? I would hate to have to kill you." Naruto smirked at this. "You can't kill me, I'm immortal," Naruto said before he noticed something odd. He wasn't hitting metal, it was the guy's arm. Naruto jumped away and focused. Soon, he was able to see the soul of everyone nearby, except Tamashi's. Naruto's eyes widened. "It's ironic, your name means soul yet you have no soul," Naruto said. The man smirked. "So you have a heightened spiritual awareness, and with the Baransu no Ken, that is a deadly combo." "Good thing I have no soul," Tamashi said. Everyone looked at either Naruto or Tamashi. No one heard the statement about Naruto being immortal. Naruto activated his soul guards and rushed again, but his attack was blocked the same way as last time. "How? My soul guards can cut through anything?" Naruto asked. "Let me explain, during the Kyuubi's attack on Konoha, I was in the forest. I felt a wave of yokai and then I saw this purple, almost black, chakra appear in this rift. I walked over and it rushed at me. I felt insane pain, then power. Later on, someone tried to kill me only for time to stop. I noticed my right arm was covered in black flames. I soon realized that I had stopped time. I killed the man and embraced the power I held," Tamashi explained. Naruto's eyes widened. "You encountered void chakra. Well then, the only way to fight the void is with void." Naruto jumped back and called his Tamashi no Sudira and released the seal holding back his void chakra. He had it envelope his body and ignored the pain. Soon, he was covered in the armor from the bridge. Naruto, now void, let out a raspy breath. "I am void," he said. Tamashi smirked, thinking that this kid could never harm him. Naruto swung his void-empowered Tamashi no Sudira towards Tamashi and, to his surprise, Naruto slashed right through Tamashi's shoulder. "Well, this is interesting. I see you have access to the power of the void as well. Fine, I will leave, for now." Tamashi suddenly disappeared. Naruto let go of his hold on the void chakra and the armor dissipated. When it was gone, they saw that he was heavily burnt. He spit up a bit of blood and collapsed. "Naruto." Everyone rushed over and Kakashi checked. "He's still alive, but barely," he said. Naruto's mindscape. "Ow, what happened?" Naruto looks around and notices that he is in his mindscape. Shinigami suddenly appears in front of him. "Shinigami-sama, what are you doing here? And what happened?" Naruto asked. "I'm here to make sure you survive. You remember what happens when you die after using void chakra, it takes a week just to come back. If it wasn't for the fact that it makes you mortal, it wouldn't be a problem. As for what happened, with him having access to the void chakra as well, your void and his was too much and did twice as much damage than normal. The damage nearly killed you. Now, it's time to wake up," Shinigami explained. Naruto nodded before he pushed himself out. Naruto woke up to find himself laying in a bed. He looked around and noticed that he was in a hotel. He looked to his left and saw Matsui in the chair, asleep. He looked to his right and saw Haku in another chair, asleep. Was Haku worried too? He stands up and shakes both Matsui and Haku awake. Next thing he knew, he was glomped by the two. "Not again," he wheezed out. The two let go and apologized. "How long have I been out?" he asked. "Just 1 day," Haku said. Naruto was surprised. He shook his head. "Well, where are we exactly?" he asked again. "A small trading town, a mile from the campsite was," Matsui said. Naruto nodded. "Are you both okay?" Naruto asked. The two nodded. "Well, I'm not restricted to this room, am I?" They shook their heads. "Well then, let's go get something to eat." The three left the room only to run into Kurenai. "Naruto? How?" she asked. "How what?" Naruto replied. "How are you up? Your entire body was severely burnt. You were barely alive too," she said. Naruto grinned. "I have insane healing," he replied. "Well, we were going to get something to eat. Want to join us?" Naruto offered. She thought about it for a moment before deciding. Okay, why not? The group left the hotel and were walking down the streets. "I remember this place. I know a good place," Naruto said. "How can you know this place? You would have left the village, and someone would have noticed you just disappearing." Kurenai asked. "I wasn't even at the village for the last 3 years of the academy," Naruto said. "But you were at the academy, what do you mean you weren't there for the last 3 years?" Kurenai asked, even more confused. Well, I was going to visit the Hokage but he wasn't there. I waited in his office for a bit before I got bored. I saw this big scroll and opened it. In the scroll was the instructions for the Kage Bunshin. I went into the forest and practiced for an hour before I got it, and then I thought of something. If I could load it with enough chakra, it could take my place, so I filled it with almost all my chakra, leaving only enough for me to survive, and left. Naruto took a deep breath after he finished saying that. Wow, wait, then why did you steal the forbidden scroll? Kurenai asked. Because I made the clone while I was still here, it didn't learn as much as me, so it actually believed Mizuki. Naruto answered. Matsui and Haku didn't understand all of it but they decided not to ask. Here we are, I tell you, the food at this place is amazing. The three walked into the restaurant. 30 minutes later, the four walked out. Wow, you weren't kidding, that place was good. Kurenai said. Not as good as Naruto-kun's cooking. Matsui said. You can cook? Haku asked. Naruto nodded. His food is amazing. Matsui complimented. I'm not that good. Naruto said, being modest. Anyways, any suggestions on what we can do now? When everyone shook their head, Naruto started to think. Suddenly, he got an idea. He created 2 clones. The original picked Matsui up onto his back and the clones picked the others up. Hold on. Naruto and his clones started running and 3 minutes later, they appeared in a field, filled with flowers. It's beautiful, Matsui said. Kurenai and Haku agreed. While I was visiting this town, I found this place and would come here to think. Naruto said as he let Matsui down. The clones did the same before they dispelled. They all laid down on the grass and watched the sunset. Soon, they all fell asleep. Naruto was waking up when he noticed something. For 1, someone was laying on top of him, 2, there was a draft, and 3, he was awake. He opened his eyes to see Kurenai laying on top of him. What? He suddenly remembered the events from yesterday. He stroked Kurenai's hair and nudged her. Her eyes fluttered open and she saw what she was laying on. She blushed and got off of him. Naruto chuckled. Were you comfortable? He asked. She nodded slightly. Naruto chuckled to himself. Naruto stood up and walked over to Matsui and was about to shake her awake when she mumbled something in her sleep. Ooh, yes Naruto-kun, deeper, oh yes, it feels so good. Yes, 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 Naruto-kun. She suddenly jerked upright and hit Naruto straight in the nose. After she completely woke up, she realized what she had done and walked over to him and started to apologize. He said it was all right and started to chuckle. Have a good dream, Matsui-chan? Naruto teased. She realized that she was talking in her sleep and blushed. Naruto just started to chuckle even louder. All of the commotion woke Haku up. Well, Haku's up now, so let's go. Naruto said. He created 2 clones again and had them carry them once more. They made it back to the hotel to notice Kakashi standing in front of the door. Have a good night you 4? He asked. Naruto nodded before letting Matsui down. The clones did the same and dispersed. Naruto looked through the memories and realized that Kurenai snuggled up to the clone that carried her. He swung his arm around her neck. Do you like me or something? While we are asleep, you crawl on top of me. And while my clone was carrying you, you snuggled into its back. So, do you? He asked. And no. Kurenai, at this point, had a blush that would put Hinata to shame. Naruto shook his head. Naruto-kun, stop teasing her. Although, you don't have to be afraid to admit it. Matsui said. Later that day, the giant group were heading out to continue the mission. If we encounter Tamashii again, leave him to me. Kakashi said. Naruto shook his head. Kakashi, you wouldn't be able to harm him, I'm the only one that can fight him. Not even your Reikiri would harm him. Naruto said. And how would you know this? Kakashi asked. Because he is being protected by Void Chakra. And only someone with Void Chakra can harm him. Naruto said. Kakashi's eyes widened, then he nodded his head. In an unknown place. Well, they are on the move once more. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Her power will be mine. Tamashii yelled. Back with the group. Naruto was talking with Matsui when he felt something was off. Suddenly, he felt Tamashii's presence. He undid the seal holding back his Void Chakra and prepared for the attack. Soon, Tamashii dropped in front of them. Tamashii, what do you want with Matsui-chan? Naruto asked, tired of this guy. I can tell it's not because of who she is. I want the power housed inside of her. That's all. Naruto realized what he was talking about and smirked. Ah, that. It is no longer inside of her. I have sealed it away inside of a special place only I can access. Naruto said. Tamashii frowned. You're not going to give it to me either, will you? Naruto shook his head. Fine, I'll leave, for now. It would be a waste of time to do anything for now. Tamashii suddenly disappeared. Let's continue, shall we? Naruto said. The group continued. They eventually made it to the destination and Matsui got a sad look on her face. Naruto too. The fire daimyo walked up to the group. Thank you, very much for making sure my daughter made it home safe and sound. What's wrong, darling? He asked after he noticed that his daughter was upset. I'm just a little upset about having to leave Naruto-kun, she said. The daimyo realized that his plan worked and smiled. He made a decision that would really hurt. Why don't you go back then? What kind of father would I be if I kept you from the one you loved? He said. Both Naruto and Matsui looked up, hope evident in their eyes. The daimyo nodded once more before waving the group off. Naruto, I got some bad news. You know how if you die after using void chakra, you're stuck here in limbo for a couple of weeks, but if you die in void mode, your soul will be destroyed. If it wasn't for me, you would have been destroyed. What? Damn it, I'll have to avoid that then. Suddenly, Tamashii jumped in front of Naruto and sent a wave of void chakra towards him. Naruto dodged and released his void chakra. I am void, he yelled. Tamashii sent wave after wave of void chakra towards Naruto, hoping to keep him from cutting him like last time. You will not get that power. Naruto yelled. Who's going to stop me? Naruto released his void form, knowing that if he held it longer, he would be screwed. He focused his Shinigami chakra through his body before he noticed something different. Naruto, you finally did it. You unlocked your Shinigami form, Shinigami announced proudly. Naruto nodded before embracing the new power flowing through his veins. His form soon started to change. His hair turned pitch black and his clothes changed to a black robe. A giant scythe appeared in his hand and beads wrapped around his left hand. His skin turned pale and almost glowed black. He opened his eyes and the whites of his eyes were now a dark purple with the iris being lighter and the pupil being a four-pronged star. The pupil's color itself was a dark purple as well. Naruto's figure spelled death to those who pissed him off. Your time has come, Tamashii. It said. Tamashii backed up, scared of the figure in front of him. Naruto lunged forward and sunk his scythe into Tamashii's chest. Tamashii shimmered out and disappeared, narrowly avoiding death. Naruto let go of the form and fell to the ground, panting. Shit, that took more out of me than anything in my entire life. He said. Well, let's get going. Naruto, what the hell was that? Kakashi asked. That was me finally unlocking the true power my master gave me. Naruto responded. And what power would that be? Kakashi asked. Naruto sighed. Since my dad trusts you so much, I'll tell you, later though. Naruto said. I thought you were an orphan, how can your dad trust me? Kakashi asked. Naruto smirked. Later, Naruto said. Kakashi decided to just let it go for now. Naruto walked up to Akumu. He pulled his sword off of his back. Hey, Akumu, try to draw this sword. Akumu nodded, confused at the request, and grasped the hilt. He pulled and the sword eased out. Naruto's eyes widened. Akumu, this sword can only be drawn by a Namikaze. Akumu's eyes widened as well. That means, but how? Naruto shook his head. I don't know, but it means we are in the same clan. Although I suggest you don't let anybody know, unless you're alright with being in the Clan Restoration Act. Akumu paled. Hell no, not happening. Akumu said. Don't worry, your secret is safe. I'm already stuck in it though so it won't do me any good. And with my bloodline. Akumu nodded, understanding. Wait, I have a bloodline. Akumu said. Naruto started to laugh. Keep that a secret too, then. Naruto said. With Tamashii. Damn, I'll kill that brat even if it's the last thing I do. A dark light started to swirl around Tamashii before entering his body. With the group finally made it back to the small town that they stayed at the night before. Later that night, Kakashi pulled Naruto into the room him and Zabuza were sharing. Alright, talk. Naruto sighed, but complied. I'll give you a hint, my father's hair is blonde and lives in the leaf. He is a great shinobi. Naruto said. Kakashi's eyes widened. Inoichi? I didn't know he had a son. Naruto's sweat dropped at that. I forgot about him. No, not Inoichi. Kakashi looked confused. My full name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Then it hit him. It can't be, how could that be possible? Kakashi said. Naruto took the sword that was on his back and handed it to Kakashi. Take a close look at it. Kakashi did just that and realized what the blade was. This is the Namikaze clan blade. Sensei said only a Namikaze could draw it. Kakashi said the last part to himself. Naruto took the sword back from him and drew it. At this point, Kakashi realized that his sensei's legacy lived on. Now, before I tell you the rest, I will warn you that if you tell anybody without my permission, I will kill you nice and slowly. Understand? Kakashi nodded. Let me start with how it started. Naruto told Kakashi everything, again, leaving out some details. Kakashi was pale by the time Naruto was finished. Damn, I need a drink, he said. Naruto opened up his little ceiling realm and pulled out a bottle of sake. He threw it over to Kakashi. Naruto then left the room and went to the room he shared with Sasuke and Kiba. He laid down and went to sleep. The next day, he woke up. Sasuke and Shadow walked him to a clearing nearby. What the hell? Why did you bring me here? Sasuke asked. Naruto pulled out a letter and handed it to Sasuke. Read it, Naruto asked. Sasuke complied. Sasuke's eyes widened as he read on. Soon, he threw the letter to the ground. It can't be true, it's a lie. Sasuke yelled. Naruto shook his head. It is, the Uchiha clan was going to attack Konoha. This is a letter from your father to Itachi's best friend, asking him to join and help. He accepted and asked Itachi to as well and, seeing no way out, killed him. He then presented this to the Hokage and the few trusted council members. This, right here, is a letter from Itachi to you. I got it the day before we left for the mission. Naruto handed the letter to Sasuke and had him read it. Dear Sasuke, I asked Naruto to deliver this for you. You are probably wondering why I sent it to Naruto in the first place. A couple of years ago, I was in a clearing, training when he jumped in front of me. At first, I thought he was a threat, so I went to attack him, but he just avoided me. He asked me to stop as he had an offer for me. He said that he knew the truth about what happened during that day and said he could get me back into Konoha, but I would have to help him first. He asked me to help spy on the organization that I am in. I accepted, and asked him how he would do it. He just replied, I have my ways, and walked away. Now, I sent this to Naruto along with another asking him to give to Yo and to tell you the truth. Sasuke, do not embrace anger, it is not the way to power. The only way to get truly strong is when you have someone to fight for. All this time, I've been fighting for you. I hope that you will not make any mistakes with your life. Love, Itachi Uchiha. Sasuke knew it was the truth. He knew his brother's handwriting all too well and could tell this wasn't a forgery. He dropped to his hands and knees and cried. Naruto walked over to him and sat beside him. Sasuke, I'm willing to train you some, but you will not be able to use the Sharingan except for when I'm helping you master it. Naruto said. Do you accept? Sasuke thought about it for a moment before he nodded. The next day, everybody was setting out. Anko walked up to Naruto. Kurenai likes you, she said bluntly. Naruto nearly tripped. What? He said as he regained his balance. She likes you, but she just won't make the first move, she said. Naruto sighed. The group continued walking for a while before Naruto felt Tamashii once more. Tamashii jumped down out of the trees, but seemed different. Tamashii, what do you want this time? Naruto asked while activating his spirit guards. Simple, I want to kill you, he said. Naruto was about to lunge before a man around Zabuza's height dropped into the clearing. He rushed at Tamashii and swung the massive sword that was on his back. Tamashii dodged and sent a punch towards the man. The man smirked before pulling the sword in half. He swung the second sword at Tamashii only for the sword to bounce off. The man's smirk turned into a frown. He focused a bit before sending a current of wind at Tamashii. The wind pushed Tamashii back enough for the man to focus. Naruto focused and went into his Shinigami mode once more. He rushed at Tamashii and swung his scythe only for Tamashii to block it with a sword that was hidden on his back. Not this time, Shinigami. I've gotten more power, try this on for size. Naruto was hit in the chest by a blast of pure void chakra. Naruto was sent back but was able to land on his feet and rebound, this time, focusing his Shinigami chakra into his scythe. He sliced right through Tamashi's sword and cut his arm off. You bastard, that hurt. Tamashi focused void chakra into his bleeding stump of an arm and his arm regrew. Tamashi rushed at Naruto, his arm on fire, and punched Naruto in the stomach. Death Seal. Tamashi said the name of the technique and soon, Naruto's Shinigami chakra dissipated. And best part of the seal, no more void for you, that is for an hour. Naruto realized that the only way left for him to beat Tamashi was to use his yokai. Hey, Tamashi, do you know who I am? Naruto asked. Yay, Naruto Uzumaki, soon-to-be-dead brat. Naruto smirked. No, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune. A flood of yokai erupted from Naruto's body, severely burning Tamashi. Soon, 9 tails sprouted out from behind him and his ears changed to that of a fox. His pupils became slits and his teeth and nails elongated. You are dealing with a demon now, Naruto said. He blurred from sight only for him to appear behind Tamashi, his hand sticking through his chest. Damn, you won this fight, but now I can prepare for this too. Tamashi soon dissipated. Naruto let go of his hold of his yokai and turned around to see some of them cowering in fear, some in awe, and one preparing to do a sealing. He turned to the stranger who had stepped in on the fight. Who are you? Naruto asked. Name's Kiyoshi. Naruto analyzed the man. He had shiny black hair and yellow eyes. He was wearing a trench coat the same color as his hair and had blood-red ninja pants on. Naruto nodded. Nice sword. Naruto complimented. So, what are you doing out here? Naruto asked. Actually, I was on my way to the hidden leaf. I'm tired of wandering around, decided to settle down. Now, what the hell was that? He asked. I'm different, Naruto said. Naruto walked over to the rest of the group and noticed their expressions. What? He asked. Well, we weren't expecting that. Kakashi said. Let's just continue. The group headed on with Kiyoshi joining them. Naruto walked over to Kurenai. Anko-chan said you liked me. He said, being as blunt as Anko was. Kurenai stumbled and grabbed onto the first thing she could, Naruto. Naruto ended up falling on top of Kurenai. I guess Anko-chan was right, you do like me. Naruto said. When Kurenai blushed, Naruto chuckled a bit. Amazingly, nobody noticed the two fall and continued walking. Naruto took this moment to show Kurenai how he felt. He moved his face closer to hers and she did as well. The two soon met in a passionate kiss that lasted for a couple of minutes before they parted. Kurenai looked up into his cerulean eyes and knew that he would not hurt her. She looked towards her side and noticed that the group had only walked a few feet since they fell. They're walking awfully slow, she said. That's because I'd trapped them in a genjutsu that is making them think that they have gotten pretty far. Kurenai chuckled. Well, it's time we joined them and for me to drop the genjutsu. The two stood up and went towards the group and Naruto dispelled the genjutsu. They continued on for a while before hitting another little town. We can stay the night here, Kakashi said. Everyone nodded, except for Sasuke, who paled. What's wrong, Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. Another day of Naruto's training, he said in a low whisper. He suddenly clutched onto Sakura and held her like a security blanket. Take that, Ino pig. Inner Sakura yelled. Hey Sasuke, no training while we're here, Naruto said. Sasuke suddenly looked as if it was the best day of his life. Sasuke walked away. Naruto walked up to Anko, Kurenai, and Matsui. Hey, Naruto-kun, Matsui said. You three hungry? I'm buying, Naruto said. The three nodded before following Naruto. Lucky bastard, Kakashi said. Haku seems to like him too. The lucky just might get luckier, Zabuza said. Kakashi started to cry. At a completely random restaurant, the three were walking out. That was pretty good. Although, I'm getting tired, Kurenai said. I suppose we should head back to the hotel, Naruto said. The three made it to the hotel and ran into Kakashi. Oh, hi, you four are going to be sharing a room, he said. Okay, Naruto said. I'm alright with that, Anko said. The next day, they headed out only for Naruto to fall to the ground, holding his head. Ah, he screamed. Everybody rushed to his side only to be blasted away. You lost. Your soul is mine. Tamashi dropped in front of Naruto and readied his hand. It lit on fire and he plunged it through Naruto's chest. The void started to invade Naruto's body before hitting his soul. Now, die. Tamashi focused and grabbed Naruto's soul with his void chakra. He pulled his arm out, pulling Naruto's soul with it. He moved Naruto's soul to his mouth and ate it. Naruto! Everybody yelled. Anko, Kurenai, Matsui, Haku, and Hinata all started to cry. Now, for all of you. Tamashi started to advance towards the group. Zabuza pulled his sword off of his back while Kakashi revealed his Sharingan and pulled out a kunai. In limbo, Shinigami and Minato both witnessed Naruto's soul be devoured. Minato dropped to his knees, the pain was so great. Shinigami-sama, can't you do anything? He's your apprentice, Minato said, tears falling freely. Shinigami took on an appearance that showed he was deep in thought. Suddenly, it hit him. Minato, go to the seal in Naruto's room and focus on their location, I'll take care of the rest. Minato quickly ran in the direction of Naruto's room, leaving Shinigami to do his part. Tamashi has a soul now, so if Minato does his part correctly. In the world of living, Minato appeared in front of Tamashi, his outfit similar to Naruto's. Sensei? Kakashi said in disbelief. Minato turned his head slightly and nodded. He looked back at Tamashi before feeling a second presence in his mind. Minato, remember the jutsu you used to summon me? Use it. Resuiting the death god, he ran through the hand seals required for the jutsu. Fuinjutsu. Shiki Fujin. Shinigami appeared behind Minato and wrapped his left hand in prayer beads. Minato's soul appeared in front of Shinigami and Minato rushed Tamashi. Shinigami pushed his hand through Minato into Tamashi and, after finding and grabbing Naruto's soul, pulled. He broke the rules of the jutsu however and left Minato's soul alone, letting him live, and placed Naruto's soul back into his body. Shinigami then disappeared. Naruto began to breath again, albeit labored, while Minato's breathing became heavy. Minato walked over to Naruto and picked him up. He focused some Raiden chakra into his fingers and poked Naruto's forehead, waking him up. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and saw his father holding him. He remembered what happened and jumped out and saw Tamashi on his knees. Damn you, Namikaze, he said before leaving once more. Naruto relaxed and looked at his father and noticed something. Wow, that doesn't work with you, stick to your normal outfit. Naruto said. Minato laughed a bit at this and Kurenai, Anko, Haku, and Matsui looked up. Hinata was in Kiba's arms, asleep. Next thing he knew, he was fighting just to breath. The three women had jumped on him and were taking away his access to oxygen. Ladies, you're killing him, Minato said. They let go and stood up, tears still in their eyes. Hello, what the fuck is going on here? Zabuza asked. Minato turned around and looked at Zabuza. And who are you? I'm Minato Namikaze, he said. Zabuza started to think of where he heard the name but just couldn't remember. Now, let's get going. I'd say we could make it back to Konoha by tomorrow. Minato said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a three-pronged kunai and handed it to Naruto. Suddenly, Minato was gone in a yellow flash. At the Hokage's tower, Sarutobi was doing the usual, working on the damned paperwork that kept growing. I wish I could just take a break. He felt a chakra spike for a moment coming from the safe hidden behind the fourth picture. He went to it and opened it to see Minato in there. A little help, I think I'm sitting on my kunai, he said. Sarutobi's brain shut down. He fell backwards, out cold. Minato just sighed and focused chakra into his left side and forced himself out. A couple of minutes later, Sarutobi was coming to and stared right into the face of the once deceased fourth Hokage. It can't be, Minato, is it really you? Sarutobi asked as he stared into Minato's face. Minato nodded. But how? Sarutobi asked. Shinigami gave me my life back. At this, Sarutobi passed out once more. Minato walked over to Sarutobi and kicked him. When he got nothing he kicked him again, and again, and again. After several minutes of kicking, Sarutobi came through. Good morning Sleeping Beauty, Minato said. He helped Sarutobi up. Did he send you back to help with my paperwork? The aged man asked, hopeful. Minato shook his head. No, he sent me back to help Naruto and the group. Minato said. Sarutobi's face became serious. What happened? He asked. Well, I can't explain everything, but shortly after you sent them off, they ran into a man named Tamashi. Naruto, no matter what he did, just couldn't kill him as Tamashi would just run. What makes him dangerous is that he has void chakra as well. Sarutobi's face paled. After fighting Tamashi at random times, Tamashii eventually found a way to beat Naruto by taking his soul. And he succeeded too. Sarutobi's face paled even further. Shinigami sent me back and had me do Shiki Fujin to get Naruto's soul back and return it to him. He didn't take my soul though, which is why I'm here. Minato finished. Sarutobi nodded. So, are you going to take up your role as Hokage again? Sarutobi asked. Minato shook his head. No, maybe one day, but not now. He said, I got to go, by the way, the secret to defeating paperwork, Kage Bunshin. Sarutobi started to cry at not realizing such a simple solution. Minato left once more in a yellow flash. He appeared to Naruto and grinned. So, everything alright? Minato asked. Naruto nodded. Naruto disappeared in a yellow flash, like Minato did, and appeared next to Akiko, who was sitting in the living room of their house. Eep! She jumped, surprised when she felt arms surround her. She then saw it was Naruto and relaxed. What are you doing back, Naruto-kun? She asked. Well, the group is on its way back so I decided to let you know. How has things been while I was gone? He asked. Great, but boring at times. How about you? She asked. Well, let's see, I had my soul stolen, he said. She looked at him weird. It's a long story, he said. Just then, Kushina came out and saw Naruto and wrapped her arms around him. Hello, Naruto-kun, she said. Hello, I've got some news. Naruto said, his voice dropping. What is it? She asked. Naruto went back to the kunai located with the group, bringing Kushina with him. She looked around and noticed that she was in the forest. Look around, Naruto said. She complied and soon noticed Minato. Her eyes widened at seeing him. Minato. It can't be. She looked at Naruto and he nodded. I brought you back from the dead, didn't I? Naruto said. No one noticed them yet. He scarred the shit out of me a couple of weeks ago. Threatening me that if I hurt you, that even if I was his son, he would kill me. Naruto said. Create a clone and let's go home. She said, after a moment. Naruto listened and created a clone before taking her hand and taking them back home. Akiko was once again startled when they arrived. Hi, Akiko-chan, Naruto said. Naruto was in between Kushina and Akiko. Hi Naruto-kun, so, what was the news? She asked. Naruto pulled out a deep-pronged kunai. Akiko got the hint and knew that Minato was alive. Truth be told, after having my soul stolen, I'm pretty tired. He said as he rubbed the back of his head. Akiko leaned in and kissed Naruto and when they parted, she spoke up. Me too, Naruto-kun. She said, Enfasi Zing-kun. Kushina soon joined in. Let's go to bed, Naruto-kun. Kushina said, also Enfasi Zing-kun. The next day, Naruto woke up and noticed something, he was naked. He suddenly remembered the events that transpired last night and grinned. He looked to his right and saw Kushina, then looked to his left and saw Akiko. His grin softened. He shook the two awake and got up to get dressed, them following his example. He felt his clone disperse and sorted through the eyes widened when he realized that Tamashii was attacking the group. Damn it, I got to go, the bastard that stole my soul yesterday is back. He said before disappearing in a yellow flash. Tamashii, why do you keep on trying to kill me? Naruto asked. Because you are the only person that seems to be able to hurt me. He said. Naruto frowned. Suddenly, a katana came flying and nearly hit Tamashii in the head. Tamashii, time to pay for the things you have done. The group heard. They turned their heads in the direction in which the voice came from to see a man who looked to be about 5'9" with wavy black hair and brown eyes. He was wearing a black muscle shirt and black Anbu-style pants with a dark gray hooded cloak. Who the hell are you? Tamashii asked as he looked at the man. Your executioner. The man rushed Tamashii and swung his two swords down. When the swords made contact however, instead of the cut he was expecting, the swords just stayed in place. After the momentary shock wore off, he stared into Tamashii's eyes. I can't see it, I can't see it. He started to yell. His pupils had turned red and the whites of his eyes turned black. Tamashii just threw the man back. He landed in the group, eyes wide with shock. What were you looking for? Naruto asked. I couldn't see his soul. He said after he regained his calm. I could have told you that. He has no soul, Naruto said. Naruto stood in front of the man. What's your name? Naruto asked. Oretsu Kamu. He said. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said. Naruto pulled his Shinigami chakra out, going into Shinigami mode. He gave his scythe an experimental swing before rushing Tamashi. Flames of Hell. Naruto said the technique name before summoning pitch-black flames under Tamashi. He jumped out of the way, but not without getting his right arm burned. Naruto continued to rush Tamashi and swung his scythe, impaling Tamashi through the chest. Naruto then pulled the scythe from Tamashi and cut his left arm off. Tamashi, however, just fled like before. Naruto released his hold on the form and walked up to Aretsu before looking at his soul. Well, a fractured soul. Seen the gates of hell, have we? Naruto said as he walked up to Aretsu. How do you know that? Aretsu activated his Zaningan, 1, and stared at Naruto. He noticed that Naruto's soul was different, more demonic. He activated his Dujutsu's ability and forced Naruto to see some of the sins of his life before he broke it. Do that again, and I will fucking disembowel you. Naruto warned, tears flowing freely. Aretsu was shocked once more in his life. Someone just broke his Dujutsu's infinite sin viewing technique. This kid interested him, so he followed. They finally saw the village gates and went to the guards. One of the Chunin who were assigned to guard the gate saw the group in W as about to welcome them back when he saw 4 unknown people. Excuse me, why are there 4 unknowns accompanying you? The Chunin asked. They wish to join the ranks of Konoha Shinobi. Kakashi said. The Chunin nodded but kept his eyes on the 4. They went straight to the Hokage's tower to make their report. After the report was given, Naruto and Matsui went home.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.